Pod Mortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers, free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their multi-award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings, both in person and via Zoom, that were made graciously available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development, Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary Women in Conversation is slated for a September release, and we are looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez, joined as always by my co-host, my husband, and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin.
This week, we are recording live from the 8th floor maternity ward discussing the 2021 Taiwanese horror film, The Sadness. This film was written and directed by Rob Jabbaz. In Jabbaz's feature film directorial debut, this film's gruesome and over-the-top reputation preceded it upon its release. While regarded by some as a mindless gore fest, others hail it for its timely social commentary. Despite its polarized reception, The Sadness is fearless, boasting an intriguing story, impressive and uncomfortable practical effects, and disturbing imagery that will stick with you long after the credits roll. This film was requested to us by friends of the show, Solomon and Kristen Lofton. We want to thank them both for their support as well as this suggestion. This film was also John Paul's birthday pick for the year. So, what did you guys think of The Sadness the first time you saw it?
I think, babe, you had told me about this movie.
I did.
And I don't remember how long ago that was. I just remember watching it and I was like, wow, that was really good. Didn't think anything of it, and then some days passed, and I was like, damn, I can't stop thinking about that movie, The Sadness. Some time passed, I watched it again, and I was like, I really, really like this movie. Watching it for the show, I really, really love this movie. It's a lot. Like, there's a lot going on, but I think it is, for me, one of those, this is so over the top that I can just take it for what it is. You know, it's like, this is too crazy. So it's like, holy shit, this is happening. Oh my God, that's happening. So it is very, okay, I can just, you know what I mean, focus on what's going on here and take it for what it is, because shit is just going to go nuts. Mm-hmm. But there is a story there. We are following people. We are, you know what I mean? We get a little background, whatever. We do, you know, what we're doing. But it doesn't, for me, it doesn't feel mindless. It feels like we go on this ride with the protagonists, and you know what I mean? It is like, holy shit, by the end of the movie. I liked a lot of what was going on. I know there is a lot of gore, but I wouldn't say it's mindless. I feel like everything happens for a reason.
I love how much you love this film.
Oh, no, yeah.
And you've been championing this film for a long time.
Yeah.
So much so that I am surprised that it took, 4 years for it to be your birthday pick?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't time. It's time now.
But I remember watching it for the first time, and it's exactly as Reneé said in her intro of its reputation preceding it, because all people were talking about was this new film that had just come out on Shudder, and it was fucking insane.
Yeah.
And so much gore, and it's shocking and everything. And so I know that we were all very intrigued by it.
Right.
And I remember watching it the first time, and to me, I was like, I think this might be a one and done.
Right.
Or I'll watch it the one time, and then I've watched it. The hype surrounding it, it's done, and then we'll move on to other things.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it again until it was your birthday pick.
Okay.
And so watching it the second time, I will say there are more things I appreciated about it this time than I did the first time. So the things that I liked about it were kind of magnified more, but I felt also like the things that I didn't like about it the first time were also magnified.
That's fair.
So I feel like I ended up almost in the same exact place as the first time.
Right.
But I do, as far as positives, I think the performances are really good.
Yeah.
Very committed.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for a lot of the stuff that they have them doing insane.
Yeah.
But I think the lighting is also great. The movement of the camera and some of the shot compositions.
Right.
And also just some of the things that scare me a lot in horror films are things that are supposed to be normal that suddenly aren't.
Right.
And so, a public transportation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And suddenly it's a nightmare here.
Yeah.
I also appreciated all the practical effects. I think when you go practical so clearly and so intentionally, it is an impressive thing, especially now when so much is somewhat poor CGI.
Yeah.
And I do think that there were a lot of really good moments of tension where things are happening so quickly, and the way that it's shot, you feel like you're in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's very well done. But for me, me,
Sounded like he was going to give his rating.
I'm done. No, I think for me, when it comes to the level of gore and violence, it gets to a point where it feels tedious.
Okay.
Like it's not shocking anymore to be shocking all the time.
Right.
And when everything you're doing is what is the most disgusting thing I could do in this moment, it starts to feel like you're just being edgy to be edgy.
Oh, okay.
And so that stuff was starting to lose me.
It's a rough watch.
Right.
To the point where it's a little grueling as you go on.
And I imagine
understand.
Scripting it was also...
It was difficult because it's how much of this do I say? It was
beat
hard.
for beat, word for word.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that if its intention is to be shocking, I think you can be shocking in a way that balances better.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
To where the shock actually continues.
Right.
But when it's every single thing, you're like, okay, well, it's going to be the nastiest thing I've ever heard that he's going to say. I already know that. Or what's the most graphic kind of violence we could have in this moment? Well, that's what we're going to do.
Right.
But I think that, there is a level of social commentary that I think can be mined here. That if you want to say that this means this and it's saying this or trying to get this point across, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Watching the film, I do not think that that was the filmmaker's intention at all.
Yeah.
Right.
But what did you think?
Well, as I think all of us, this film was already on my radar because everybody was talking about how rough it was, how disgusting it was, that Shudder even had a warning at the beginning of it. And so I remember Anthony Jerome had texted and was like, have you seen it yet? And I was like, no. And he was like, you should watch it. But didn't say any oh, it was great or oh, I hated it. He was like, you should watch it. And so Kristen had come to visit and we were like, let's just do it. So we watched it. And when it ended, we both looked at each other and were like, why was that great? It was horrific. It was disgusting. Why did I like that so much? And so I had texted Anthony and he was like, I've already watched it 3 times, blah, blah, blah. And so it's this, I don't know if it was the timing of it. And that's when I was immediately, okay, John Paul, you have to watch this. And I made him watch it with me. So it's this, I don't know if it was just the timing of it. I don't know if because of its reputation, I was expecting there to be no story, no emotionality, just gross. And it wasn't that. And so I was like, oh, what, I don't know what it was, but I know that it worked I mean, at least for a handful of people.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
But I think, and you saying that to you is interesting because I walked away from it with a lot of, I understood what all that violence meant. I understood what the shock was for, and I respect it. And living in a pandemic at that time with people not taking it seriously, I'm like, I see you. I get the point of this fucking movie. And then doing research and trying to learn, how this film was made and maybe the filmmaker's intention behind it. I don't know if he and I were seeing each other or if I was like really like in my feelings about it and inventing things that weren't there, because he's pretty like cut and dry of, we made this and blah, blah, blah. So that was shocking to learn. But I still came away, like we say all the time, a film, once you release it, it is, the viewer's opinion on how they consume it.
Yeah. It's kind of not up to you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I am consuming it in the way that Jabbaz made it.
Yeah.
But I still, I will say I watched it with Kristen and then I watched it with you, John Paul, and then I haven't watched it since until now. And there were scenes that I was like, all right. I get it. There are scenes that make you like, because and part of it is the type of violence that's depicted at times. It is just difficult for anyone to watch.
Right.
It's not like, this is fun. Like, it's not, a like Evil Dead gore fest kind of a roller coaster ride. Like, it's fucking rough. It's brutal. I will say, and I know we don't do this very often, but this might not even be the episode for everyone.
Right.
This is a rough fucking movie. Mm-hmm. I was like, maybe Shudder just put a warning on it. Like, this is based on a true story. And everybody's like, I got to see it now. And like, this is the scariest movie since The Exorcist. Everybody's going to want to see it. This is going to disturb people. Everyone's going to want to. And it's like, no, this movie's actually pretty fucked up.
See, and I think to me, that's where I kind of, in my own head, because I like disturbing films.
Yeah.
Or films that really unsettle you. And I like really decent gore and all this. I don't know if it's just something about, there's something, and I didn't want to use this phrase, but there's something kind of try hard about this, and it does.
It's funny because I never felt that until I read interviews.
Really?
But I still am choosing to interpret it and enjoy it the way that I view it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's again, like I said, that's kind of me. I'm taking it as it is. I can watch it, and I do see some kind of how you can get something being like, are they trying to say something out of it? Because even watching it, to me, and like I talked to your sister the other day about it, and I was like, I am getting something out of it. I was like, but it's just kind of like everybody. So it was like, okay, that's, this is fine watching it. And like I said, I did enjoy it more this time.
Yeah, I still think that if you have the stomach, it's definitely worth the watch. I think that this is something special just in ways that they are able to, I think, for me, successfully weave in emotional aspects of, our main protagonist with the vile, horrific things that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. And the practical effects are fucking insane. Yeah. They are so good. They're disgusting. They're incredible. They're really, really good. So I would still say watch this, but if you have genuinely almost any kind of trigger, or I would steer clear of this one. But let's talk about production. I did get my research for the film from Taiwan News and interviews in Rue Morgue, Raven Banner Entertainment, iHorror, Moving Pictures Film Club, and Fangoria.
Okay.
So the story begins when Canadian Rob Jabbaz moves to Taiwan. He said that he had artist friends there and moved in hopes of learning how to animate. And he does. He makes an animation called Fiendish Funnies, and it ends up winning a prize at a film festival in Taiwan.
Oh.
Damn.
So because of that prize, he gets a job making commercials with the producer David Barker. Barker introduces him to Jeff Huang, another producer who he starts writing screenplays for. Then the pandemic hits. So one day, Huang calls Jabbaz up and says that Hollywood is closed. If they make a movie right now, there wouldn't be any competition. He'll finance it. Jabbaz can write it, but he wants it to be either about zombies or some kind of virus. That was the stipulation.
Okay.
Jabbaz said that he was bored to death trying to come up with another zombie story, so he focused on a virus, but he wanted to do something different. What he was thinking of reminded him of Garth Ennis's graphic novel Crossed.
Okay.
But that still read too zombie to him, and he wanted the virus rooted in something deeply human that resulted in horror that could be pulled off with a small budget. So, bearing all of this in mind, Jabbaz writes The Sadness. He gives the screenplay to Huang. Huang loves it and tries to get a director, but they said that no one wanted to do it for the amount of money that they were wanting to pay during this, pandemic.
Okay.
So Huang turns to Jabbaz and is like, "Are you interested in directing?"
Yeah.
Jabbaz had never done anything like this before, so he was hesitant. But the more he started to like the idea of directing what he'd written, the more he starts thinking about all these films that he's heard about where the director's vision is completely ruined by studio meddling.
Right.
So he tells Huang, "I'll do it, but we can do it one of two ways. Option one, I phone it in. I show up, I do my job, and I go home and don't really give a fuck. Option two, I can make this film my life and put my entire heart into it. But to achieve option two, I need to be able to make the film my own way, and I need Final Cut."
Damn.
That's a gutsy move, but
Yeah.
good
Huang
for him.
picked
Yeah.
option two.
Good.
It was a good thing that he fought for Final Cut and creative control too, because even some of the actors that were interviewed said that when they read the script, they did not believe that a film like this could be made in Taiwan at all. It really pushed the envelope due to the subject matter, not only because of the violence and gore, but there were even poor reviews solely based on the language that they use in the film.
It's graphic.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is.
But Jabbaz enlists the co-founders of IFSFX art maker Esther and Victor Chang to do the effects because he'd seen their work on the internet and was a big fan. He said that they did the best effects that he had ever seen, and they leaned heavily on it being practical for two reasons. Monetarily, it cuts down on the money used for CG in post-production.
Yeah.
And Jabbaz also wanted the effects to look as visceral and realistic as possible. They said they took 3 months to create prosthetic heads, body parts, organs, and props to use for The Sadness. And they researched various diseases to really rely on it being realistic. They also used hundreds of gallons of blood.
Makes sense.
And
Yeah.
that tracks.
It looks good.
It
Yes,
does.
it looks
does.
incredible. So they shoot the entire film in about 28 days, and Jabbaz edits it himself, another thing that he had never done before. He said that to edit films, all you need to do is watch a lot of movies to learn flow of what works and what doesn't. And he said that his inspiration on proper pacing from film came from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's right. I love this. Jabbaz, is it? Is it?
When I was reading, I was like, no fucking way. Jump off. That's hilarious.
It's too perfect.
I know. But only 7 months passed between Huang calling Jabbaz for an idea to make a film and its premiere at the Locarno International Film Festival in Switzerland.
Wow.
Okay.
Jabbaz said that he didn't even realize how quickly they made it happen and how much he had burned himself out until after they'd finished shooting, and he was sleeping like 16 hours a day for a couple weeks.
Damn.
Like he turned into a fucking cat. But after the premiere, the distribution rights were then bought by Raven Banner Entertainment, and it debuted on Shudder in May of 2022 with quite the reputation for its intense gore and imagery. And then in 2025, Pod Mortem talked about it.
Hey.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
All right.
Now, before we infect this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's indulge. Firstly, before the film even begins, we get text on screen. The Sadness contains graphic and extreme violence and gore.
For all of the movies that are on Shudder,
Mm-hmm.
it really did surprise me to see a warning like this before one.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of what fueled the fire of everybody talking about it at the time.
Maybe.
Right.
I even feel like if this film were made in America or even another place besides Taiwan, I don't know that it would have such an intense warning attached to it. But from what I've come to understand reading all these interviews, they don't get down like this over there.
Okay.
Like people were like, you are not going to be able to make this. Like it was very
Understood.
I can't believe this film came out in Taiwan, was made in Taiwan. Like people were very surprised that this even happened.
Right.
So
right.
I feel like if this were an American film, it would just be like, oh yeah, that movie's fucked up or it's gory or whatever. But this like the sadness is it's too much. But I feel like it's very like a cultural. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is extremely gratuitous.
It is.
But I think that just a matter of attaching the warning, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes you feel like, all right, here we go. But as the credits display in red, we see clusters of viruses floating, suspended, their amber bulbous proteins flopping and sticking straight out from their bodies. Suddenly, as classical music underscores the moment, two of the viruses collide into each other and burst, birthing a mass of writhing tentacles that stretch and transform. When we pull back, the edges of the suspending fluid are tainted red, and the viruses have mutated into something three-pronged and studded with red dots. As this sight fades to black, we get the title in bright red, Ku Bei, the Sadness.
So much happens throughout this entire film that I completely forgot this was the opening.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll be honest.
I was like, oh, this makes me think of Mayhem a little.
Yeah, for sure.
The title lingers, slowly and subtly dripping before we are suddenly overlooking the city of Taipei in the daytime. In an apartment, Jim and Kat, played by Barrett Zhu and Regina Lay, lie in their bed, asleep. Kat's phone is plugged in on her nightstand, but Jim's is in the bed, tucked under his elbow. He wakes first and rolls over to slide his arm around Kat and pull her closer. This wakes Kat too, and a smile creeps across her face. She rolls over, and the two lie in an embrace as they tell each other good morning.
I know it's something very small, but with the way that their phones are arranged with them waking up, it really does say a lot about them as characters.
Yeah.
And even this conversation that we're about to have as far as scheduling and structure, it fits with who they are.
Yeah, for sure.
And it did, again, I know we're just starting, but just being with them, like you're saying, and then this little throughout, I already kind of just felt, they're, I know these people.
Yeah.
These are my neighbors.
They feel very realistic and like lived in as a couple. In one of those interviews, Jabbaz was asked about the chemistry between the two of them. And he said that they did have to do stunt training together before they started filming. And he doesn't know if their chemistry came from working together on that or if he just got really lucky when he cast them. But they do. I think they go very well together.
Yeah. And I think this opening is very sweet and tender.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And I want more time with them.
Yeah.
Just to kind of help sell some more moments later.
Yeah. I feel like in the fleeting time that we get of normalcy, there is a good job of establishing the dynamic between the two of them.
Right.
Their fish bobbles in its tank, and pictures of the couple smiling look out into their apartment, their memories safe behind the glass. But Jim and Kat stay warm and safe in each other's arms until Kat's phone alarm begins to chime. She rolls over to turn it off, lamenting why he always has to wake her up right before the alarm. But Jim grins proudly that he's her real alarm clock. Kat smiles at this, but immediately sits up and starts to look at her phone. Jim wonders if she can't take the day off, but Kat says that she can't. There's a meeting today that she can't miss, and she tells him to get up too. Still looking at her phone, she reminds him that they have their trip next week anyway. Jim is like, what? Kat tells him to Kenting. Jim is taken aback that that's next week, but Kat says that they did talk about it. Pushing his hair back from his forehead, Jim offers, "Shit." He admits that he was going to talk to her about it today. Barry wants him to help on a shoot. Kat asks when, and Jim tells her, "Next week."
Oh.
But he quickly follows up that they don't know the date yet. It depends on the weather. Kat doesn't respond, but her flat expression says enough. Jim smiles that it's for a German ad company and the money's pretty good, but Kat isn't smiling. It was hard for her to get this time off. She only gets 10 vacation days a year. Jim reaches for her and apologizes, but he needs the job. He hasn't been getting many opportunities for work. Kim asks him when the last time they took a trip together was. She wants to relax and get fresh air and tan. Suddenly, Jim has an idea. A tan? She can get a tan on the roof. Jim.
Come on, man.
Jim.
I get it. I get you need work or whatever, but if we had this planned, come on,
dude.
Don't.
I did, though, want to call out a bit of foreshadowing.
Okay.
All right. But Kat gets up and leaves the bedroom without another word, closing the bathroom door behind her. Jim groans as he pulls himself from the bed and goes after her. He gets up and knocks gently on the door, admitting that he's sorry. He's an idiot. His client base is so tiny that he has to take what he can get. Kat doesn't reply. He offers to talk to Barry and try to work something out. Kat doesn't reply. He asks if she wants to have last night's bowsy for her lunch today. Kat's voice is quiet when she tells him that he can have it. He thanks her and goes back to make the bed. That was...
He's like, look, she's already pissed off.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and...
I'm gonna...
Yeah, might as well, right?
Might as well eat the bow. That was hilarious to me. He goes straight into the kitchen to eat the bun with some hot sauce as he scrolls on his phone. He glides absently through social media, past a post with a picture depicting a virus, past a photo of a determined-looking man in a suit. But when Jim sees a YouTube link titled The Dunk, with a thumbnail of one man sweaty and nervous, and another, clearly the content creator, pantomiming deep thought, he clicks on it. The plastic around the bun crinkles as Jim takes another bite and the video loads. The YouTuber Warren Liu, played by Emerson Tsai, virtually interviews Dr. Alan Wong, played by Wei Hua Lan. He asks the doctor why he and the rest of the medical community continue to promote the fear of the Alvin virus. Calm and level, Dr. Wong explains the situation. Most people think that the Alvin virus is no more serious than a mild case of the flu, but the experts are terrified of the virus's potential mutation.
Again, a little too close to home.
Yeah.
Like we're currently talking about on PMTV.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/thepodmortem. But
Yeah. Go check it out.
again, maybe don't name the virus after that guy who takes care of those chipmunks. Like, find a scarier name.
Alvin was the chipmunk.
He was
No,
one
he
of the
wasn't.
chipmunks.
Yeah, he is.
Who the hell's the guy? I thought, wait, so he puts
Jason
him,
Lee? I don't know.
puts
Yeah,
himself
that was Jason.
above the chipmunks? He gets fucking first
He
bill?
gets top bill, yeah.
And also these other chipmunks.
Simon and Theodore.
What am I?
I'm sorry.
I'm a
also-
chipmunk.
And Jason Lee's like, and I'm here feeding and clothing them.
But to what you were saying previously,
Right.
Jabbaz did say that he was heavily influenced and even used things that he was hearing at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
And that really is this whole like YouTube video.
Right.
It sounds too familiar.
Yeah.
But the doctor offers to show the very simple reason for this fear of the mutation. Warren smirks as Wong picks up his tablet. On it is a diagram of that three-pronged mutated virus that we saw earlier, marked RNA. In the display, we see a tangle of proteins inside. Dr. Wong says that there are dormant protein chains in Alvin that are clearly from the same order of viruses that rabies is a part of.
That's not good.
No! Warren tries to cut him off, but the doctor implores him to let him finish. Warren doesn't, though. Instead, he cries out for the doctor to let him speak. Jim has set his phone down at this point, but it still plays with the doctor asserting that he's concerned as Jim feeds the fish. Warren concedes that Dr. Wong already said that, but there have been 0 deaths, so why all the scare tactics? The fish gratefully eats up the food, but Warren isn't done. He finds it very convenient that Alvin just happened to show up during an election year.
I swear to God.
I know.
I was ripping my hair out a little bit. Jim steps out onto the balcony while the doctor's small voice cries out on the speaker, begging for society to take this seriously. To politicize a virus is a terrible mistake. Alvin is a threat to public health, and it doesn't care who the president is.
I like that.
Again.
Yeah. Jim scans over the river, the docks, the green mountains, the buildings down below, but he stops when he sees someone standing on a flat roof. Long hair to match their long white gown. Their feet are bare and their back is to Jim. He calls out, asking if they're all right, and slowly, dazedly, they turn to face him. It's an old woman played by Chi Min Chow. In doing so, she reveals that the entire front of her long white nightgown is stained deeply red with blood.
I think this is a problem.
Yeah.
This is horrifying. Like, this is not... I think that even if she looked a little like, that doesn't look right, it would almost be enough. But the fact that she's already got blood all down
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a jump.
Is it too much too fast? Because
It almost, yeah. For me.
I'll be honest, a little bit, but it did kind of, I think, getting the warning at the beginning, it was like, oh, we're just going.
We're jumping
Yeah,
in.
we're going.
I feel like for me, it would just be a little more effective if she wasn't bloody yet. Because it would be like, oh, that was fucking weird, but we gotta get to work. Like, I think it would be easier to like, all right, let's go about the day. But seeing that, I'd be like, no, hello, police. I'm not moving on after that.
it's like, why are you screaming on the patio? And then the whole movie's different.
And it's over. Jim gulps as the two lock eyes with each other, and this trance isn't broken until Kat approaches and puts her hand on his shoulder, startling him. She asks if he's ready before going back inside, dressed for work in a white blouse and black skirt, and picking up the trash from his bow off of the coffee table. I was like, Jim, you were fucking up this morning, dude. He asks if she didn't see that, but Kat returns with a question of her own, wondering why he can't throw his trash away. She turns to get rid of it, and when Jim looks back at the flat roof across the way, the bloody old woman is gone. Still, Jim looks disturbed.
I would say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a weird enough sight, even if it's gone now, to be like, dude, there was something real strange over there.
Yeah.
Extreme. Yes, very. The next balcony is separated by bars, but Jim can see right through when his neighbor, Mr. Lin, played by Ralph Chu, sleepily steps out. He tells Jim hello before picking up his yellow watering can and turning his attentions to the plethora of thriving plants set up on the ledge. I loved this little setup that he has.
Yeah. I have a thing about balcony height, being a tall person, because I fear of just accidentally falling off of one.
Right.
This is great height. That's all I was trying to say. That's all I was trying to say.
Jim returns the greeting, but when Mr. Lin sniffs, Jim asks if he's all right. Mr. Lin dismisses it as just a cold, but Jim insists that he should go to the hospital. Mr. Lin is done waiting in hospitals, though, especially when doctors always say the same thing. Stay home and get some rest. He decides that that's not hard to say. Maybe he should be a doctor. This finally elicits a small, amused smile from Jim, but Mr. Lin isn't done. All that stuff on the news about the pandemic and the virus, it's all a hoax. I was like, oh no.
Here we go.
Oh, how many conversations have you been stuck in that start just like this?
How are your plants, man?
Yeah. But he continues that those lowlifes that own the media companies are blowing it all out of proportion to drive down stock prices so they can buy low and sell high when the economy bounces back. His brow knitted, Jim asks if that's true, but Mr. Lin affirms that it is. Want to bet? At least that's what he would do if he had the money. I'm like, Mr. Lin. He picks up a set of shears and opens and closes them quickly, the metal snicking against each other next to his ear. Changing the subject, he decides that he has too much Thai basil. He clips some off and takes a long, satisfied smell of it, promising to give some to Jim later. Jim thanks him before turning back toward the house and asking Kat what time it is. I want some Thai basil.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Slinging her purse over her shoulder, she reports that it's almost 8:30. She comes out and she and Jim tell Mr. Lin goodbye before walking toward their front door. But Jim pauses. He leans back into the apartment and plugs in his phone, currently at 3%. It chimes as it begins to charge, and he and Kat leave. Still holding the shears in his hand, Mr. Lin smiles and tells them goodbye.
I expected that phone to be a much bigger deal.
I was very afraid for this phone.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, when I saw it unplugged in the bed, I don't know if it's just the type of person I am. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was already stressed out.
You're like the whole night?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
fool. On the street, Kat sits on the back of the motorbike as Jim drives them, but their speed reduces to slow motion when they stop to stare at something on the side of the road. A police officer restrains a man against the back of a cruiser. The man's grimacing face is bloody. Behind them, another officer restrains a bleeding woman with the help of her family. She fights against them as some onlookers watch and some shield their eyes, unwilling. Jim and Kat stare, but we continue to pan, finding a body on a gurney covered with a once white sheet, now absolutely sopping in crimson. Kat pats Jim's back, prompting them to speed up and round the corner.
I don't think we go to work today.
Yeah. It's a pretty rough start to the morning.
Yeah.
I had two thoughts here.
Okay.
The first is this really reminded me of Shaun of the Dead with this commute and seeing things that are just kind of
For sure.
off
Okay.
and like disturbing.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I probably would have cut out that old lady on the rooftop
Yeah.
and started there.
Oh, all right. All
that
right.
this was the first
This
weird
was-
thing.
Yeah.
And because it's just enough to where it's like, this could just be a thing that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I
Yeah.
think that's really fair because honestly, if I'm driving John Paul to work and I saw that old lady on the roof and then I just watched a video about this virus and
Yeah.
then I see this on the side of the road, I'm begging you to not go to work.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But Jim parks outside a subway station. Kat gets up from the bike and hands her helmet to Jim, who takes it, hanging his head. He's sorry that Kat had to see that, and he realizes that he shouldn't have slowed down. But Kat assures him that it's all right. After a moment, Jim's somber face brightens into a smile, and he offers to make them dinner tonight. Rifling through her purse, Kat grins, asking him what he's making. After a moment of thought, Jim admits that he doesn't know yet, but it'll be something with Thai basil, and he promises that she'll love it. I was like, aw.
Yeah.
The two share a long goodbye kiss before Kat departs and disappears into the station. Jim goes back the way they came, but when he passes the site of the accident, everyone is gone, except for one police car, a neon vest draped over one of the doors, which all stand open.
As Jim,
Mm-hmm.
what explanation could there be for this that's okay?
That's okay?
Yeah,
None.
none. Yeah. I sat
That's-
here for a second and none. Yeah.
I can think of a few explanations, but none.
But no.
Yeah, none that are good.
No.
I feel like that would lead me maybe back the way I came to pick up Kat or to try to get her before she gets on the...
Something feels very wrong.
Yeah.
But we cut to breakfast, sizzling on a flat top. Jim parks his bike and enters a corner cafe where a woman is ordering food. Once she finishes placing her fucking delicious sounding order, Jim approaches the counter. The cook, played by Cass Sai, greets him as a regular, and when he offers Jim his usual, Jim orders instead a medium black coffee to go. He's like, I already ate. And I'm like, no, yeah, you did. The cook tells Jim that he'll have it ready once he finishes filling the to-go order. I wanted to mention, I thought it was interesting. The cook originally auditioned for a role, an extremely prominent role, probably the role that you think of when you think of The Sadness. That's what he auditioned for.
Oh.
And they will introduce that person in a little bit. But they ended up obviously going with someone else, but they offered him this role instead. And he is one of the actors that said that he was very excited to be a part of it, but he was very skeptical that this film could even be made.
Okay.
Jim looks around at the customers sitting and eating, engaged in quiet conversation, scrolling on their phones. The cook cuts up the food on the flat top. Oil bubbles around potatoes in the fryer. Jim walks to the end of the counter and picks up a flyer for apartments in Taipei City.
I just wanted to say very quickly, as far as color theory, all of the seats in the restaurant are yellow. The flyer he picks up is yellow.
Oh, okay.
The posters behind the cook is yellow.
Mr. Lin's water can was yellow.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
We like yellow.
We love yellow. He's looking at this intently when the cook notices him. He comments that the pandemic is affecting the real estate market. Properties are cheaper now than they were last year. Jim grunts in agreement, but he doesn't notice that behind him, someone has slunk in. Someone just out of focus with long white hair, shuffling along on dirty bare feet. A customer looks up from his breakfast, confused. We travel up the dingy nightgown to find the woman that was staring at Jim from the rooftop, her white hair damp with sweat. The customer gets the attention of his friend, who stands and goes over to the old woman, who has stopped at the counter. He calls out to her gently, prompting her to turn, and we finally see her face. Her eyes are red, and nothing but black peeks out from between the swollen lids. Sweat beads on her face, and her blackened teeth are showcased in a sinister and misaligned smile, her jaw jutting slightly to the side. The man that just tried to assist her is taken aback, but he stumbles when the old woman hawks and spits something chunky and discolored into his face.
All right.
This
Come on.
grossed me the fuck out. This movie's disgusting, but something about that, I was like, whoa. Like,
Oh, that's gross.
It
Yeah.
was so bad.
And I feel like the description was unwarranted.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put us there.
Don't.
I did want to say that they used mostly silicone prosthetics because they're lighter, more realistic, and more comfortable for the actors to wear. So for the old woman, they used a prosthetic forehead, upper and lower eyelids, and pieces on the actor's hands and nails, and completely custom teeth.
Wow.
This work is so good and seamless.
Yeah.
It's really, really excellent work. But the customer falls back against the table, sending it skidding and objects clattering. The cook looks up in surprise, but the old woman takes this brief second to snatch the fryer basket and smash it down onto the cook's head. Jim stares in disbelief as the French fries and bubbling oil cascade down the cook's face. The cook screams in agony, but the old lady is still smiling her demented smile. She takes her fingernails and claws off the sizzling skin of the cook's cheek, ripping it away by the handful and exposing the muscle beneath.
Granny, chill.
I swear to God. This is like stomach churning.
It's crazy as fuck.
Yeah.
I did not expect the face like her. Oh, come here. Let me get some.
Yeah, no.
The oil wasn't enough?
Yeah.
I did read in one of those interviews, Cass Tsai, the actor that played the cook, said that for the shot of him getting hit over the head with the basket, they had to do it multiple times and really hold it against his head so that they could get the shot and it not just look like it was bouncing off.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that his scalp did get scratched and the liquid that they used for the oil got in his eyes, mouth, and nose. And that Jabbaz's note constantly was for him to keep screaming louder, scream more. So after they filmed this, his voice was hoarse for a week.
Damn.
And for the wound on the cook's face, they had to have a prosthetic against his skin and then another one over it to be peeled away.
Ah.
It was all supposed to be done in one day. They were going to do this one time. But Jabbaz hated the way that it turned out. And when they showed up the next day, he made them all do it again.
Oh, wow.
And the cook said that in the second shot that they used, it's Jabbaz's fingers peeling the skin away. And that's the shot that's in the film.
Okay.
Jim rushes over and pulls her hand away. But when the old woman sets her sights on him, her eyes completely black, he stumbles back. She calls out, "Handsome boy." I mean, thank you.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. For real?
It's an odd time for a compliment, but thank you.
As Jim backs up toward the door, he notices that behind the old woman, the man who had tried to help her now has his friend pinned to the tabletop. He is stabbing him repeatedly in the neck. His friend bleeds. The patrons scream, but the old woman is still huffing, focused on Jim.
You see the action more than like the result of it
Yeah.
with the stabbings, but the sound design,
Yeah.
it is some rough stuff.
Yes. And it's like, that was so fast. She did spit directly into his fucking every orifice in his face.
Right.
I understand the quickness,
Yeah.
but that was so fast.
Yeah, because we really just, had a couple minutes, him peeling his face away. Getting
fry
his,
basket.
Yeah.
But Jim's attention snaps back to the old woman as he stumbles out into the street. Still, she comes toward him, smiling, reaching out for him with her hand extended and her expression dreamy, telling him to just drop fucking dead. No, but she does get hit by a car.
She does.
Jim walks toward the accident, his tank top adhered to his body with sweat. The driver is slumped onto the wheel, beckoning the insistent horn, and the old woman is on the hood, her nightgown even bloodier and her head a crimson mess. But suddenly, the horn stops, and the driver is grinning up at Jim. His eyes are black, and his face is bloody as he notes happily, "That bitch came out of nowhere." It's like, all right, it ate everybody.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm Jim, I'm like, I'm going to wake up right now.
A frantic score rises as Jim backs away from them, but someone lands on the roof of the car with a thud. It's the man from the cafe who was stabbing his friend, and he still clutches the knife in his red hand. His eyes also are completely black, and he smiles at Jim.
You did mention the music. I did want to talk about it for a second because I really think that it's fantastic.
Yeah.
The composer was an artist called Tchar. And it's very interesting because Jabbaz had said in an interview that he first started with an idea of modern horror scores that he liked a lot.
Yeah.
And so he thought about Hereditary, which is fantastic. He thought about the remake of The Crazies. Very
Okay,
interesting.
Yeah.
And the remake of Maniac.
All right.
And these were the three. Yeah, I know. It's a lot of JP.
Like, is that why you picked this?
Oh, that's
Did you have your
great.
finger in this?
And
Perfect.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
And the other guys, what
What the hell? But he said that what he wanted to do is he's like, I'll take these three and I'll take them to some musician friends of mine and see if they can kind of create something around that. But everyone that he took it to, all the people that he knew personally, it just didn't work out.
Right.
And so instead, he decided to go to SoundCloud.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he goes onto SoundCloud and he finds Tchar, sends a message. Apparently, this artist is famous for K-pop remixes. And according to that article I read, Tchar has done over 2,000 of them.
Oh, damn.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
But sends a message, and basically the rest is history. And they're in contact, and Tchar becomes almost like a creative consultant and contributor for the film as well.
Damn.
Because Jabbaz is sending messages with revisions in the script and even starts asking about it and starts getting some creative input.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I really always respect when a director is so collaborative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes.
Yeah, and being hands-on, but not too hands-on.
Right.
Yeah, right. Because it can. You
As
know.
it-
Yeah.
But it did. It reminded me a lot of when I was a part of that video game project.
Yeah.
When it started just a song being found on YouTube, and then it's also working on the script and editing and things.
Right.
It is all the reason in the world that if you are a creative person, get your stuff out there.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen.
Yeah.
But when Jim hears giggling above them, he looks up just in time to see a laughing woman launch herself from her balcony. She lands on the street in a sickening thud. Her shoes fly off and she goes still and silent. This is so jarring.
Yeah.
Because it's like we watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did y'all do that? Like it looks very realistic.
Yeah.
Jim turns back to the man with the knife, and as two other patrons advance on him from the restaurant, he turns and runs. With no time to get on his bike, he sprints past it and down an alley, with all three of his pursuers hot on his tail, laughing and watching him through swollen red eyes.
The way that this is shot, this is what I was talking about the tension, because you feel like you are in this alley with Jim.
Oh,
Yes.
And it is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to turn into another area and slam the door behind him, but one of the infected scramble up to the bars above and try to reach down at him. This shot is so creepy because it's like he can't get him, but he's not stopping.
Yeah.
I also really, because it's so easy in a lot of horror movies to be like, why the fuck wouldn't you just get in the car and leave? It's like, no, there was no way he was starting
Yeah,
that way.
hell no.
Like, he did the smartest thing by just fucking running.
Oh, yeah. You got to get out of there. Fuck
Yes.
that.
But we cut to Jim mercifully returning home to his apartment. I was surprised.
Yeah, that's why I was like, damn, at least he made it home.
He closes the door and stops to catch his breath and reconcile what he's just seen and been through. After rushing to the fridge and downing a drink, he returns to the living room where he gets his phone from the charger. The beverage still leaking from his lips, he makes a phone call. As it rings on the other end, he sits on the couch and turns on the TV. The screen is bright red with the white seal for Taiwan. Text beneath reads, "Stay tuned for urgent information." Jim switches channels multiple times only to see the same announcement again and again with that same droning tone.
The amount, like how my stomach would sink,
Ooh.
just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I got to get to Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get out of here.
That's the first thought you would hope.
Yeah.
You would think. He was thirsty first. We're different guys.
Right.
He just ran really far.
Dude, I don't give a fuck.
Gotta hydrate, then I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vin Cat.
You put your own mask on.
But it is that sight, again, these things that are so normal to you. You turn on the TV, you expect to see something.
Yeah.
But all of these channels being this emergency broadcast thing, absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Jim switches the channel one more time to find a twisted cartoon. An anthropomorphic bulldog with a spiked collar, a torch, and a black ensemble leads a group of identical women, some of them pregnant, but all of them nude and with crowns on their heads. Behind them, a cluster of identical men march, black cloaks over their body, torches in hand, and smiles on their freckled faces. Behind them, a tall wolf in a suit lurks. As frogs bounce at his feet, he drops a wink to us. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know you, Wolf. From what you said earlier in the production section of the intro, I wonder if Jabbaz did this.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
That would make sense because I'm like, I need information of how this got on the
Yeah.
and I need it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way the turn it takes is like, I don't know if this cartoon has the sadness already.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's that. It's like, and it really, really. The first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, everything is fucking like it's this like surreal. It's all gone to shit. It's over." Like that. The cartoon, I don't know. It really fucking like was the cherry on top.
Yeah.
But finally, an announcement sounds in the street, urging everyone to pay attention to the following message. Jim gets up to go to the window now and doesn't see that on the TV, the wolf is having sex with 3 of the crowned women, all stacked on top of each other. That's when I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's like Pyramid Head. You remember?
Yes. But I'm like, this had to have been made. This wasn't made today.
No.
Yeah, no.
It puts a strain on the animator's wrist.
That's what I've heard. But still, the announcement warns of new rules for everyone. First, all men must report to the district office so that he can cut all their dicks off and feed them to stray dogs. And for the ladies, They'll be fucked by dogs in the street. The echoing voice asks if that's clear. This is their new lives now.
We will not be going to the district office.
Yeah, no,
no. We're going to steer
Nobody
clear.
leave their homes.
No.
This is so, like, this is a stomach sinking moment.
Yes.
Of like, this is supposed to be an announcement of where we can go to feel safe, or like some kind of normalcy of things are in place. Like, we know shit's popping off, but ABC is in effect. No. Like, this is terrifying.
It almost feels like when Silent Hill changes.
Yeah.
This is what it's like,
Oh, we're in a whole different fucking place.
We're in the
Yeah.
bad place now.
Yes. The turn the announcement has taken stops Jim in his tracks, and he turns to his phone. He sends a text to Kat under the symbols denoting the 2 missed calls he tried to place. Baby, are you all right? Where are you right now? As the man making the announcement cackles, the balcony door behind Jim slowly slides open.
There was such an unsettling feeling of all these things converging because you have, of course, everything that Jim is going through, everything that he just went through, but you have the music from the cartoon still.
Yes.
This guy cackling on this speaker.
Yeah.
And then the horror is back on your doorstep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say, as the scene continues, the cackling continues as well.
Yeah.
And it is truly fucking unnerving.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. As someone enters the apartment just out of our view, Jim continues texting, warning Kat that people are going crazy and hurting each other. He tells her not to come back home. He will go to her. But he catches the reflection of movement behind him and turns just in time to block a pair of gardening shears by grabbing onto their blades. They're wielded by Mr. Lin, his own pupils dilated and black now. Recognizing his neighbor, Jim asks, "What the fuck?" But Mr. Lin just peers at him from red, swollen eyes. He tries to close the shears, but Jim fights him, stumbling back and taking the fight into the kitchen. I was like, no!
Yeah.
Because when you see the balcony open, you know who it is.
Yeah.
So did he slink across the thing?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he had to.
He wanted it more.
Yeah.
Because there's the gate
Yeah.
in between.
them.
So he would have had to go over his plants through the front, and then, he did want it. That's determination. His hands still gripping the handles of the shears, Mr. Lin smiles at Jim with bloody teeth and bids his neighbor, "Hello, nice morning, isn't it?" He looks down at Jim's 2 fingers, still precariously gripping between the blades. He brings the handles together and cleanly slices off Jim's fingers.
Ooh.
Jim kicks Mr. Lin in the gut, sending him across the room where he hits the fridge, and he falls to the floor next to Jim's amputated fingers. I could not believe that this happened.
No.
I know. Not my fingers, man.
That sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Rats. Jim cradles his hand, panting in shock, but Mr. Lin is undeterred. He grins before plucking up one of Jim's fingers from its bloody puddle and popping it into his mouth like a snack. He chews it happily before spitting it across the room, where it lands in the fish tank.
Yeah.
That's wild. I thought that because what they were talking about earlier about this virus being like close to rabies.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe that means that different kinds of animals can get it too.
Mm.
And so I thought that it would be like, if you ever see like a piranha like feeding frenzy,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and the water is like bubbly and stuff.
The
I was
fish
like,
is just like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
he's like, dude, what is going on out there? I see this
That's gross.
weird ass cartoon.
First of all, turn off the TV. But Mr. Lin stares at Jim, deranged, giddy. He tells him not to worry because he can finger his girl for him. He exemplifies this with his fingers, but just as he starts to get up, Jim swings a metal toaster against his head. The echoing voice outside is still laughing maniacally when Jim steps over the incapacitated Mr. Lin, the bloody shears, and the dented toaster.
I still have 8 fingers, sir. Like, get out of my home.
He's like, don't worry, dude.
He gave him the right response with the toaster.
Yes, true.
He grabs his phone from the ground, swaying on his feet. But when Mr. Lin rises up, bloody and incensed, Jim runs out of the apartment and closes the door behind him. In an alley outside of the apartment, Jim cradles his bleeding hand and wraps it in a cloth. Deranged laughter surrounds him from the speakers, from the buildings, and when he rounds the corner, he sees that the 3 people that were chasing him have found another victim. They hold him down on a set of stairs and pull his arm away from his body. The victim cries and tries to free himself, but it's no use. As the 2 patrons from the cafe hold him down, the man that had been holding the knife brings down his foot. It sends the victim's elbow backwards onto the stair below, and the man cries out in agony. Jim takes the opportunity to flee, but one of the assailants stares at him through swollen eyes, a severe smile plastered on his face.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we going to,
And they couldn't catch Jim, so they just grabbed somebody else.
Yeah.
Clutching the bloody cloth around his injured hand, Jim makes it back to the street outside the cafe. He rides his overturned bike, but when he spots a group of 4 standing and squatting silently over a dead body in the street, he moves as quietly as he can. He slides the key in the ignition, but when he turns the handle and the bike revs loudly, they all turn to look at him. Their faces are splattered with blood, their eyes dilated and possibly black and large, and they're all smiling. When they start toward him, a whole group of people come from out of nowhere and join them in the street. Jim's bike won't start at first, but when they all start sprinting toward him, he's able to kick it into gear and take off. The infected sprint after him in a wave. Jim eyes them in his rearview mirror, but it's suddenly shattered by a bullet. Jim looks over his shoulder and spots a police officer through the running people, aiming and firing at him. Jim turns back toward the road, horrified, and it cuts to black.
just a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, the vulnerability of it being a motorbike.
Yeah.
You don't even have the windows of a car or anything.
Nope.
But the second thing, it's very interesting. It's a big crowd of people.
Mm-hmm.
But that officer is focused only on Jim.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like seeing them all start to come out. I was like, oh, that would suck. Like, I know suck is not the right word, but like, really, what do you, when I play, it's like, you know what, dude, I'm just going to stand here and take it. Like, what the fuck?
What can you do?
Yeah. Him getting away was like, holy shit. Like, I was sweating.
Well, that was the scariest part because the four of them were scary enough, but everyone, that like a horde came out of nowhere.
And in this moment, you do kind of feel that proposition by the producer where they're like, okay, either it's a zombie film or it's a virus.
Right.
Yeah.
This feels like a marriage of both.
Yeah. We come back on a subway train where Kat sits reading a book. I think she's reading Frankenstein.
Interesting.
Because I tried to pause it.
Oh.
The people around her, sitting and standing, are all minding their own business, scrolling and typing on their phones or napping. All except for the businessman next to her, played by Soo Chang-won. So this is the role that the cook had auditioned for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it could have been played any better or any differently than what we get from Soo Chang-won.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't gotten into the meat and potatoes yet, but this is a lot. Like, he does a lot.
Oh, yeah. And it's what's needed.
Yeah. In one of those interviews, he talked about how he came to be like in the film, and I thought it was really interesting. He said that he did his 3 years of military service and then he became a bodyguard. So he did that for more than 10 years before his friend recommended him to do a commercial in 2000. He loved it and would go on to do nearly 100 commercials in 10 years.
Damn.
In 2020, he was offered a role on a TV show, but he turned it down. But that got the wheels moving in his mind that maybe he could just try to do acting full time. He said he talked it over with his wife and decided to pursue an acting career at 42 years old.
Okay.
So from all the commercial work that he'd done, he knew David Barker,
Right.
that Jabbaz did the commercials with.
Mm-hmm.
Barker recommended him to Jabbaz. They met and had an immediate mutual understanding of who the businessman was as a character and how he was going to be played.
Okay.
And I was like, damn, that is really cool. It's so interesting because a lot of people got into this from doing commercial work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things that it's like, a lot of people, when it comes to age, think of certain ages as like, well, it's too late for... No, dude.
Yeah.
Start.
How did this episode become so inspirational?
I don't know.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Of all the films, really.
It's a good movie.
But the businessman looks up from his briefcase in his lap and notices Kat. When he tells her good morning, she returns the sentiment politely and looks back down at her book. He interrupts again to ask what she's reading. She tells him that it's just a novel, and he points out that she's very focused on it. No one reads books on the train anymore. They're all focused on their phones. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm trying to fucking focus.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Excuse me.
Yeah. Kat agrees politely and a little awkwardly that that's true. Just as the silence begins to settle between them, the businessman speaks up again. What's the book about? Kat tells him gently that she appreciates his friendliness, but she really just wants to focus on her book right now. He looks a little taken aback, but he understands. She wants to focus on her book. He gets it. He sits quietly for a moment before turning back toward her, and he shares that he actually sees her on the train pretty often, so he thought that today, maybe he'd finally tell her that he thinks she's really beautiful. Visibly uncomfortable, Kat thanks him and returns to her book.
Yeah, maybe don't. She's already told you, hey, I'm trying to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been enough.
The businessman stares ahead for a moment before turning back to Kat. He reaches out to touch her arm and asks where she works. Startled, Kat scoots away from him and asks if he's finished. Frustrated, she reminds him that she already asked him to leave her alone. She asks if he'd like her to charge him with sexual harassment because she'll bring this to the police if he doesn't shut up. Jabbaz said that when actors were auditioning for Kat, one of the things that he was having them do was improvise this scene where like a dude is just like won't leave you alone. Mm-hmm. And he said that it really bummed him out that almost all of them were like, oh, I have a boyfriend as means of rejection. And he's like, it is fucked up that women often feel like they have to use another man to get a man to leave them alone.
Yeah.
So he said that what he wrote for Kat, he has 2 younger sisters, and what he wrote here was what he would hope that they would feel emboldened to say in a situation like this.
Okay.
And it does work better for her as a character, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
I totally agree. The businessman's eyes widen, but he turns to face forward without replying. Kat returns to her book, but the businessman starts to mutter to himself. What is wrong with people nowadays? Is having a conversation on a train a crime now? He was only trying to communicate and be social, and now he's accused for sexual harassment? Kate finally closes her book and glances around, possibly for another seat, but the businessman has more to say. He was being polite, too. He even gave compliments. His head jerks with this dawning anger, and he repeats incredulously, sexual harassment?
Is he the guy with the chipmunks? Because who the fuck is he talking to?
Yeah. What book did he read?
That's a lot of conversation to yourself.
Out
You
loud.
didn't even let me demonstrate values.
Seriously.
He did the order.
Yeah.
Did the steps out of order. He muses that women these days are all the same. They think they can be rude just because they're pretty. He wonders what happened to this country before deciding that he deserves better than this. The train stops and more people get on. Kat spots Molly, played by Ying-Ru Chen, walking on with a mask over her nose and mouth and a backpack slung over her shoulders. She gets up and immediately offers Molly her seat. I didn't love that.
No.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up. Because you know what this dude's about.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell another woman, oh yeah, sit here next to this fucking freak who's like mid-meltdown.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, he can be like, hey, listen to what just happened.
Yeah.
At least now he has someone to talk to.
I just would not do that.
No.
No.
I'd even be like, don't sit there. Actually.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah. Molly sits down next to the businessman, completely ignorant to the simmering rage that's bubbling over next to her. He glances at Molly before facing forward again. The ride continues, the steady rumbling of the train making its way down the tracks, people scrolling on their phones, quiet coughs. But a man, played by Zhang Austin, is standing in the middle of the car. He has sunglasses on, but the skin beneath them looks a little swollen and red. As people doze and scroll, a silent tear rolls down the man's face. And just as his lips begin to twitch into a smile, we drop down to his hand pressing the button on a switchblade.
So this is the moment to me that I was like, oh, the sadness.
Yeah.
The tear, because everybody seems very happy about what they're doing, but we see, I think this might be the first time that's how it starts.
Yeah. There is something about this character, I think he's credited as the man in the shades or something like that. The look of him throughout this scene, starting with that tear running down his face, something about the visual of him as it goes on, it really, for me, encapsulates what this movie is.
That's fair.
I don't know anything about this man, but this casting was just spot on for me because he is genuinely frightening to me.
I think, I don't know, there is something visually and, like you're saying, through the performance too.
Yes.
It reminded me a lot of Bill Paxton as Severin in Near Dark.
He's having the time of his life.
Yeah.
I can definitely
the
see that.
Sunglasses,
Yes.
all of it.
Yeah. I agree. Without ceremony, he turns and thrusts the blade into the back of the man next to him. The man clutches his back, and when his hand comes away bloody, he looks around in shock. He thrusts his hand toward the people next to him, desperate for help, but they back away from him. The man in the shades stabs someone else in the stomach. This new victim falls, his sneakers sliding around in the blood on the floor of the car. A man in a suit drops down to him, pressing his hand against the wound. He looks around for help, but it's the businessman that catches sight of this. As the man with the knife goes from person to person, stabbing them mercilessly, the businessman gets up, clutching his umbrella and backing away fearfully. I do want to say, too, I saw in an interview that Jabbaz had said he wanted to lean more on, rather than the fear of a virus, this innate fear of like spontaneous public violence.
Fair.
Okay.
And this subway, it is just the cafe as well, but I think that there's something different being confined in this car.
Yeah.
Stuck.
It's so fucking scary.
The fact that there is literally nowhere to go.
Yeah.
At least in the cafe, you're like, well, we can fucking run around the
We can
door,
try.
find
Yeah.
the exit in the back, something. You're on a train car.
Yeah.
I'm not getting off.
No.
Right. The businessman moves past Kat, who stares in horror as the knife-wielding man stabs a woman and tosses her to the floor. Molly grabs onto Kat's arm. She rips her mask away and begs to know what's happening. As the other passengers begin to scream, Kat sinks down onto the seat next to Molly. The man in the shades staggers toward an oblivious man standing in the window listening to music. He buries the blade in the man's neck, splattering the window with blood. Kat gasps, but when the assailant pulls the knife out, a fountain of blood erupts to the ceiling, drenching the man in the shades, the walls, the floor, the passengers and their phones. Finally, the victim falls to the ground, dead. I do want to say they constructed a blood cannon to achieve this launch up onto the ceiling that, coats everything.
Yeah.
And the visual of it was inspired by Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead remake.
Really?
Another jump.
There you go. It all makes sense.
Right. But the man in the shades turns, smiling at the cowering passengers. And when he sets his sights on one man across the car, he advances, grinning, his shoes sliding in the thick carpet of blood on the floor. He raises the knife to stab, but the would-be victim raises his backpack, which takes the assault instead. He throws it to the side, causing the man in the shades to be jerked around. His sunglasses fly off, revealing his dilated red-rimmed pupils. He smiles, and although disarmed of his knife, he still cries out and attacks. But another passenger grabs him from behind and drags him down to the bloody floor. More passengers hold him down, but the attacker asks desperately, "Did I break the record? Did I break the record?"
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
That, made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Kat and Molly look around at the traumatized passengers, and Molly sobs, asking, why is he doing this? But Kat assures her in a low voice that they caught him. It's over.
I know as much as you do.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
Please don't look to me for any new
No.
information. The attacker still thrashes against the people holding him down, but lured into a false sense of security, some of the other passengers have taken out their phones and are recording the supposed conclusion of the tragedy. But out of nowhere, another man in a blue shirt begins to stab the woman next to him in the gut, imbruing her white t-shirt with her blood. He grits his teeth, staring with his distorted eyes as he holds up a 3-pronged makeshift weapon clutched in his fist.
Prior to the subsequent stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking indictment of society that is the first
Yep.
thing that so many people think to do. And it doesn't ring untrue. That's exactly what fucking happens.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say is I feel like I wish this was like, okay, we get it, dude. But it's like, no, this is literally what would
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, and instead of helping them hold this man down, they're like, I need to get all this on camera.
And they would be. And when people were getting attacked, people would be filming.
That's the
Yes,
thing.
yeah, they
It's
would.
frustrating. We're fucking cooked, dude. I think, like,
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately. As this new attacker advances on a masked up passenger, he's tackled. But a woman comes behind the masked man, jumping on his back and sinking her teeth into his neck. As the tackled man on the floor gains the upper hand, she takes a bite out of crime, and by crime, I mean his neck, ripping away the flesh and causing another gush of blood to pour onto the floor. Another random man on the ground follows suit, biting into someone's ankle and chewing on the resulting mouthful. Molly is watching this unfold in horror, but she looks up when someone approaches her. We are in their POV when Molly looks up at us, but suddenly, with no warning, an umbrella thrusts forward, embedding the pointed end straight into her left eye.
too much. Eye stuff, teeth stuff.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh.
It's so abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
It happened.
Oh my God.
And I was shocked.
Yes.
But it is like, you fucker, you poked me in the eye
And it's like
with
so.
your umbrella.
Oh, I just hate him.
Yeah.
I know it's such an understatement, but I just fucking hate this dude.
He's a bad dude. This guy is a real jerk.
Molly's breathing is ragged as thick, dark blood leaks from the wound. Kat trembles as she looks up at the businessman, his yellow tie stained with red blood, holding on to the handle of the umbrella. Molly sobs, but the businessman pulls the umbrella out and looks at the resulting gore left on the tip with black eyes. Molly cries out, blood flowing down her face, but the businessman has no sympathy. He tells her coldly, "Shut up, you filthy cunt."
God damn.
Yeah.
Kat tries to wrap her arms around Molly, who fights her in a blind panic. The businessman starts to cackle, but he is promptly tackled. The train car descends in absolute horrific chaos. It is a disgusting frenzy of murder, cannibalism, sexual assault. The deranged passengers attack, eat, drool, laugh. A man has the businessman pinned to the floor, but the businessman is still smiling up at Kat. When the doors of the car finally open, the surviving passengers flee and Kat ushers Molly out onto the platform, pulling her in the opposite direction when Molly stumbles forward, confused. But behind them, back in the train car, Kat's phone is dropped in a pool of blood, displaying Jim's missed message. "Don't come back. I'll go to you."
All of that escalated very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
And that's not even our stop. Like we
No,
have to,
yeah.
I don't know where the hell I am.
I could not believe this.
I did think it was very smart for them to run the other way.
Yes.
Yes.
We glide over the devastation of the floor, a carpet of blood, lost clothing, dead bodies, until we find the feet of a woman standing alone at the end of the car. We glide up her bloody body, her shirt ripped open and one of her bare breasts exposed as she caresses her thigh and face, smiling up at the flickering light above her. The light glints off her braces, revealing her to be one of the women attacked earlier during the frenzy.
Considering Jabbaz's interest in a lot of modern horror films, I wonder if that's a little hat tip to It Follows.
Oh,
yeah.
I can see that. We pull back to find the businessman looking around the car in quiet amazement. The splatters of blood, the bodies, his own crimson hands. He flexes them before picking his umbrella back up and marveling again at the tip, still crusted with gore. He stands beneath the blinking lights before slowly stepping out onto the platform.
I don't like the way he looked at it, like it was like giving him power, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go fuck some shit up."
Oh,
yeah, somebody take that away from him.
Yeah.
He said that his makeup took over 3 hours to apply every day and 2 to take off.
Damn.
So these contacts,
Mm-hmm.
anyone is only supposed to wear them for 3 hours a day for max. He said that he did not take this seriously. And the first day that he had the contacts in, he wore them for 8 hours, trying to save time and get more shooting done with them in, for the workday. When it came time to take them out, they wouldn't come out. The technician had to keep trying and trying to get them out of his eyes, and he ended up having to go to the eye doctor the next day.
Oh, my God.
The doctor told him that the force they used to take the contacts out had injured his corneas. And after that, he was very strict on taking them out exactly when he was supposed to.
Well,
so
yeah.
I guess lesson learned. I guess.
I thought you were going to say, and then he didn't have to wear them again because his eyes just look like that.
It saved time.
It did. Like, actually, everybody wear them 8 hours. We're on a tight schedule, 28 days.
Kat and Molly are sprinting down one of the hallways in the station, but Molly soon loses her footing and falls. Her eye looks even worse now, with the lid swollen nearly shut and the blood drying there. Molly cries that she can't breathe. She implores Kat to just leave her, but Kat refuses, and she tells Molly that they can't stop here. When Molly covers her face and begins to cry, Kat assures her that it's all right. She asks her name, and when she learns it, she gives Molly her own, and she tells her to listen. They're very close to an exit, so they need to keep moving. Once they get out, they'll be at the hospital, and she can get her eye taken care of. Molly is cowering against the wall, shrinking from Kat when she tries to pull her up, but fear sets in on Kat's face when a taunting voice calls out from the end of the hall. "Hey, lady, where are you running to?" The businessman steps into view, centering himself at the end of the long hall, still holding his umbrella.
Do not, of course, appreciate the fact that he caught up to them so quickly.
Yeah.
Because that is a goddamn shame.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this shot of him down the corridor,
It's so
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Kat begins to pant, panic settling over her, but still she tries to pull Molly to her feet. The businessman grins. "There you are." He says that there's another dirty slut. Kat begs Molly to get up, and Molly finally rises, clinging to her as they rush down the hall. The businessman stands for a moment before taking off in a mad sprint toward them. He cackles, making fun of Molly and telling them to wait up.
That surprised me that he broke out in a sprint.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all shouldn't be allowed to do that.
No.
You're already too dangerous.
Yeah, you're OP.
Yeah.
Kat and Molly round the corner and run straight into an oblivious man. Both women fall to the floor trembling, and the man looks down at them wondering, "What the fuck? Are you blind?" This is when Molly looks up at him, the blood from her missing eye covering half of her face, and he snaps to reality, realizing, "Holy shit, you are blind." He rushes to try to help her up, asking Kat what happened to her. But Kat just begs for him to help them. He's coming to kill them. The stranger doesn't understand what's happening, but the businessman steps into view behind him. Kat grasps at the stranger and points at the businessman still holding the umbrella. The stranger stands tall and addresses the businessman, asking if he hurt these women. He invites the old bastard to see how tough he'll be with him. The businessman swings his umbrella, but the stranger bats it away and punches him in the face. I was like, yes!
Yeah. This dude rules. But I feel like they could have warned him a little better.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was creepy, but he was okay earlier. But now it seems like he's got a bloodlust. I don't know.
For a return serve, the businessman grabs him by the face and bites off his nose. Once he bites the flesh free, the Good Samaritan falls to the ground, his face and shirt drenched red. Kat and Molly are frantic. The man is screaming, but the businessman stands, grinning. He spots an emergency axe behind him, breaks the glass, and grabs it. This is the last fucking thing that we needed him to get his hands on.
I understand emergency axes in places, but this feels like a really bad idea.
Yeah, you would think we're down here in the subway. Everything's concrete or steel.
Yeah.
Like, what am I breaking with that?
Nothing. Get the axe.
yeah, that. And biting the nose to end the fight was a wild fucking choice. But it was effective.
It was
worked.
effective. Drooling blood, the businessman stands over the screaming stranger and shoots a look at Kat and Molly before bringing the axe down and chopping him again and again and again. Kat and Molly run away as the man's screaming stops and the businessman is sprayed with his blood, but he still continues to chop. Kat and Molly round the corner with the freedom of a street visible at the end of another long hall. An employee stands at the end, but when he catches sight of Molly and Kat, he freezes. Kat screams at him, begging for help, still helping Molly to even stand. But the worker steps out of view and presses the button to close the gate between them.
He's scared.
Yeah.
He's terrified.
I get it, but like, I'm going to close the gate. Hurry.
But I think the problem is you don't even know, like, because they can talk to you too.
Yeah, but okay,
Yeah,
none of them, not a fucking one of them are using tactics like this. They're not using that part of their brain.
Well,
She'd be like, I'm going to fucking eat your dick or whatever.
Oh,
Let's
You know that's what she would have
let's
said.
keep it sophisticated.
call him a cunt or something.
Yeah.
It would have been terrible. I know.
They're not like, oh, help me. Rawr. Like, that's not what this
but
virus is.
even the guy across the way, Mr. Lin, he was like, nice day we're having, right? He wasn't like, nice day. Also, I want to chum.
Eat your dick.
You know.
He did. He said the fingers.
Well, later, after he showed his ass.
I don't think they're capable of this kind of
Nuance.
desperation.
Yeah.
Their performances are not nuanced. Kat still begs for help as the gate slowly starts to close. But when the businessman yells over to them, musing that he's never had a threesome before, she takes off running, dragging Molly with her. With the gate closing in front of her and the bloody businessman running behind them with his new axe, Kat pulls Molly along with everything she has. But the businessman is closing in, boasting that he hasn't been this hard in years. Laughing, his face completely stained red, he yells that they're real hot sluts.
We're learning too much about him.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not cool like that, man.
No.
Hold on.
Get a diary.
It's a great idea.
I did read that Su Chang Wong said that he had to keep checking with Jabbaz about the dialogue because the way that his character is speaking to them made him deeply uncomfortable. But Jabbaz is like, that is the point. The more vulgar, the better.
Yeah.
Still, like I was saying at the top, they received a lot of negative reviews in Taiwan solely for the dialogue.
Well, it's pretty rough.
It's a lot. When Molly and Kat reach the end of the hall, they throw themselves to the ground and army crawl under the nearly closed gate. Just as their legs are clear, the gate finally closes. The employee that closed it, Kevin, played by Lue Kang Huang, is still standing there. Kat looks up at him with disgust before pulling herself to her feet and stomping over. She demands to know what the fuck is wrong with him. He sees that Molly is hurt. Why didn't he help them? Suddenly, Molly springs up behind Kat and punches Kevin right in the nose. Kevin covers his face and whimpers, wiping away the blood leaking from his nostrils. The power of the punch nearly knocked Molly off her feet, and Kat cradles her again.
He believed in them. And he created a barrier between them and the businessman.
Okay.
You know what? The one that's the only thing I will say. Yeah, he deserved the punch.
Yes.
He deserved it. But if he would have waited any longer, that wouldn't have closed in time.
They all probably would have been dead. We'll give you that. But like it was an accidental victory. Like he was not he wasn't trying to do that.
I think yeah, because he wasn't like, run!
Yeah, no,
He was like, see ya.
He was cowering around the corner.
Yeah, I hope no one makes it.
Kevin asks what's wrong with Molly. Is she crazy too? But Kat just asks which way to the hospital. Kevin painfully explains that the police told him to close the exits. When he saw them, he thought they were crazy like the other ones. Sometimes when you're told to close a gate, you just don't close it. As we have discussed on the Stand coverage on PMTV, patreon.com/thepodmortem.
Go check it out.
But Kat dismisses Kevin's excuses. She just wants to know which way to the hospital. Kevin points behind them, and just as Kat readies Molly for the walk, the businessman knocks on the closed gate. The metal clangs, but his face appears in a small opening. Grinning, he promises to see them soon. He sticks his tongue out through the hole as he cackles.
None of this is okay.
He's a menace.
He is.
He is.
He is a goddamn menace. Why don't we find something that we can jam through that?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I would hope that that's what I would be thinking, but I would really just be trying to get the fuck out
Yeah,
of there.
that is true.
But
It's like when you put a cup on a bug. Like that's where he's at right now. He's not dead, but like he's in there for a minute. We can run.
unless it's a strong bug.
But we also shouldn't. True. But we also shouldn't have been like, which way to the hospital?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We
true.
probably
all
should have been a little bit quieter about where we were going. But live and learn, or
Or learn.
learn, or only learn.
Just learn.
On the street, Jim drives his bike slowly as sirens and alarms blare. He passes a wrecked truck. The boxes of watermelon that it was transporting spilled out onto the street. Goddamn tragedy.
Uh-huh.
But he stops when he sees the dead body of a woman, the yellow headphones she once wore fallen into the street. A voice speaks from them dimly, conceding that he doesn't know who's out there right now, but if anyone is listening to this, it seems like there's a real life-threatening crisis happening. Gee, you fucking think?
Yeah.
It seems like.
This guy's a genius.
Yeah. Might be onto something. According to his online contacts, the city is experiencing an outbreak of civil unrest, whether it be some kind of organized terrorist attack or some hallucinatory drugs in the air or water. Jim continues forward, passing a taxi, a body beneath the wheel emptied of its intestines, strewn on the road, and the driver slumped over the wheel, dead.
I think there's more going on than civil unrest.
Correct.
This is a bigger problem than we're giving it.
Yeah.
And it's really funny that he's like, according to a contact I have, it's like, look out the fucking window.
Did you not hear the speaker earlier?
Yeah, they want your penis.
Yeah. The dogs want it.
Like, yeah.
The dogs want
Have
it.
the dogs taken over? Like, and bring us more D's. You know?
You know? They're like, look, we know it's rough. He passes a stroller filled with gore and soaked in blood. A group of dead bodies is clustered in front of a bus stop, some of their guts spilled out onto the road. The voice continues that there are hostile people in the streets, all over the place, and they seem to be going on a homicidal rampage. Panic creeping into his voice, he admits that he doesn't know how the police are dealing with this shit, but he hopes that it's with their guns. As Jim full body gags, passing the bodies, the voice gets to what he calls the really fucked up part. There have been reports of sexual assault toward all genders and ages. He says that it's hard for him to believe what's going on out there, but no matter what happens, he will keep broadcasting.
These headphones, like, they carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me, what was that? Was it Maximum Overdrive?
Huh.
When we're panning through all the people that have been killed by their appliances and we're listening to like the radio.
Yeah,
that's
right,
what it
yeah.
reminded me of.
That's right.
Jim glances into the back of a crushed truck and spots another body with its entrails pulled out. But across the street, a man seemingly engaged in necrophilia peeks his head up. He turns to look at Jim, a clumpy yellow substance leaking from his eyes and down his face. He grins, and Jim takes off on his bike, prompting the man to sprint after him, naked from the waist down.
This is some of the edgelord shit that I was talking about.
Well, listen, because Jabbaz said that the version of the film that was released in Taiwan had 6 extra seconds. He said of someone doing something nasty to someone in the street. I'm assuming it's this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of nasty shit going on, but For some reason, I think it might be this.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that the distributor was like, maybe we trim that a little bit. And he was like, no, you're totally right. And so he cut what we've seen is 6 seconds shorter of what it was.
Okay.
It's for the best. I don't know what those 6 seconds could be, but we don't need them.
Yeah, I it is fucked up. But I think for what we're going, it is like, oh, this is just what's going on.
You know what it almost makes me think of is Safe Haven.
Okay.
Where it's like...
From VHS 2.
Right.
Yeah.
It really straddles that line between, okay, you're just doing the most fucked up shit that you can think of, which I don't appreciate, and just utter chaos. Where it's like, this cannot get any worse.
Mm-hmm.
The social lines that we have drawn as a human society, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, there is something so fucking terrifying about that. And I think that that's what, like, that is what I would hope would be the intention. And not like, what if somebody's fucking, like,
See, that's
what I'm worried about.
That's where I'm like, you know it'd be fucked up, dude?
Yeah,
Like, that's how it feels.
But that's not how I'm choosing to consume this.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
We all got to follow these rules.
Mm-hmm.
And we should want to follow these rules, but
Yeah.
they're there for a reason. And the thought of those being stripped away and there being no consequences and it just being fucking depraved chaos in the street,
Yeah.
very fucking scary.
It is, but I think by this point, it's like, we got it. We understand.
We do.
Things are bad.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Elsewhere, we see a body with its wrists bound together in duct tape and a bag over its head propped up against a wall. The voice warns that if you see anyone behaving strangely, you should take it seriously and take whatever means necessary to protect yourself. It's not only strangers, your family members may try to hurt you too. Our focus shifts from the body to Jim as he speeds down the street on his bike. When he comes to a flaming pileup at a tunnel, he stops, his road ahead blocked. Pragmatically, he turns the other way at the fork ahead of him. The bloody cloth wrapped around his hand is stained nearly black now, but he continues to clutch the handle of his bike until he comes to a stop. Jim gets off the bike and finally inspects the damage of his right hand. He peels open the cloth to reveal that his middle and ring fingers are completely gone.
This looks incredible.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Oh,
does.
yeah.
Acting quickly, he rifles through the compartment under his seat and finds a roll of duct tape. He wraps the cloth around his fingers and wraps the tape around the cloth, leaving them all fused together with only his thumb still free. Jim grimaces at this, but takes a drink and consults his phone. He's staying hydrated.
Yes. It's like, drink first.
There is nothing from Kat after his last message. Don't come back. I'll go to you. He finds a screwdriver in his bike and practices wielding it with his left hand, but he quickly finds a better weapon, a scythe abandoned on some wood in the tall grass. He picks it up, but when he hears laughing, he stoops down and follows the sound, armed. Jim peers from behind the dumpster at a group of boys dressed in sports uniforms on a basketball court. They huddle around and kick at another boy, laughing, their sneakers skidding on the ground as they hop around. This boy has been stripped down to his underwear. He is streaked with blood and his severely swollen face renders him nearly featureless. When one of the boys brings a baseball bat down on his head with a loud crack, the victim loses consciousness. Another boy leans to where the unconscious kid sits against the pole, demanding that he wake up. And when he doesn't, he turns to the boy with the bat, scolding him that he told him not to hit him in the head. If he's unconscious, it won't be as fun. But the boy with the bat is still giggling. Another finds a string of barbed wire and boasts that he found something fun. They wrap the wire around the pole and decide that it's time for another round of Nutcracker. All four boys pick up the unconscious one and carry him to the other side of the court. After counting to 3, they sprint forward, aiming the pole right between the unconscious boy's legs. They drop him, and while the rest of the team chuckles, one boy decides, take off his underwear.
It's not providing any protection from the spikes.
I
No,
know,
it's
I know,
not.
I know.
This is the line for Jim, who skulks toward them. When the first kid turns to see him, Jim kicks him in the chest. The kid goes down, blood pouring from his lips as he growls, and this gets the attention of his teammates. The one with the bat swings it and jumps around, taunting Jim before advancing and trying to hit him. But Jim buries the blade of the scythe in the bat, pulling it away and hitting the kid in the face with it. The baseball bat boy writhes on the ground before getting to his feet and scampering away with the rest of his friends through a hole in the fence. Jim cries out for them to get the fuck out of here. He calls them all little bastards and hurls the baseball bat to the other side of the court. He sets his attention now on the abused boy, lying bloody on the ground with his wrist still restrained. Jim uses the scythe to cut his hands free, but fear fills his face when the boy grabs him. His voice is guttural and his eyes aren't even visible through the swelling on his face. He asks Jim, "Why'd you stop them? I was about to shoot my load."
I am never helping anyone ever again.
It's that.
My bad.
It's that. So now.
No.
My bad.
I didn't know.
So you guys were in the middle of something,
Yeah,
it seems?
I'm so sorry.
This has taught me that I just need to go about my own fucking business.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't get involved. Don't get involved. Find Cat.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, and stay hydrated.
And
I guess.
stay
Yes.
hydrated. The score goes dark as the boy laughs and gets to his feet, stumbling forward and beckoning at Jim. When something hits Jim from behind, he turns. It's the team of boys again, throwing balls at Jim from behind, laughing and wondering if he really thought he'd seen the last of them. It reminded me of American Dad. And it's like, miss me? No! Jim is able to run through the hole in the fence, get back on his bike, and pull off while the boys chase him playfully. In the hospital waiting room, the red warning is on the TV mounted to the wall, the tone droning as it continues to alert, civil emergency. Everyone in the room is wearing masks over their noses and mouths, either looking down at their phones or staring up at the screen, worried. The security guards in the back are startled when someone bangs on the glass door behind them. It's Kat, begging them to open up because her friend is hurt. Molly leans on her, fading fast, and Kevin flanks her, his nose still bloody from her punch. They're able to bring Molly in and set her on one of the chairs. A nurse comes to take her temperature and asks everyone to give her room. As she checks Molly's eyes, one of the security guards pulls down his mask. He tells Kat that the emergency room is closed. They'll have to stay here for now. Kat doesn't understand why, but the guard explains that it got overrun. The police station was only a block away, so they were able to react quickly. Anger tightening his jaw, he shares that some motherfucker set a little girl on fire. The other guard puts her hand on his shoulder for comfort, and he stops talking. The nurse puts gauze over Molly's injured eye and guides Molly's hand up to hold it in place. Molly seems to be drooping in and out of consciousness, but the nurse and the guard help her into a wheelchair to get a CT scan. Kevin watches her sorrowfully, still holding his nose. When they start to wheel Molly away, he wonders, "What about me?" I was like, bitch.
I know.
He leans his head back and the nurse takes a perfunctory look with her pen light. She decides quickly, "It's not broken. You'll be fine." Kevin stares at her wounded as she walks away with Molly. The nurse wheels her around the corner and into a hallway, but when she sees that Kat is following them, she tells her gently that she can't come with them. Molly abruptly locks the wheels of the chair, and the nurse implores her that they need to get her treated. When Molly doesn't budge, Kat asks the nurse to just give them some time. When the nurse walks away, Kat kneels next to Molly. The two grip each other's hands, and Molly begins to cry. She thanks Kat sincerely for getting her out of there, for saving her life, and she promises Kat that she won't forget it. Kat strokes Molly's hair and lets go of her hand, bringing it back up to her bandaged eye. She tells Molly that it's okay and to take care of herself. Finally, she stands and calls the nurse back over. But when Kat backs up toward the waiting room, Kevin is standing there, scowling at Molly. He tells her that she's being such a drama queen. Molly glares at Kevin with her remaining eye before the nurse leads her down the hall and out of sight.
All right, I've changed my opinion on Kevin.
Beat his ass! Are you for real?
I know.
That was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
This heel turn out of nowhere when he was so kind before. Kind. He was something.
He was something. Kat and Kevin both step back into the waiting room where the TV continues its drone, instructing them to wait for more information. After looking down at the blood staining her blouse, Kat takes off her blazer and pulls her hair back into a low ponytail. She searches her pockets, but when she comes up empty, she walks over to Kevin, who's looking down at his phone. She asks him politely if she can use it, and he says yes. He hands it over quickly, but she has to give it back for him to unlock it. Kevin turns his back and puts in his code before handing the phone back to Kat, who sees that his wallpaper is a pair of anime titties straining against a small outfit.
It's his phone, but it's in public. Like, it's kind of difficult.
I was going to say
it's
it is his.
you can do whatever you want. That's just wild.
He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He likes what he likes, man.
He does.
Finally, the droning on the TV stops and everyone's attention snaps up when the general, played by Chang Han Lu, enters the frame and takes his place behind a podium, flanked on either side by uniformed men. He bids the public good morning and reports that it is 11:08 a.m.
Oh, man.
I swear to God.
I know.
You forgot that she was going to work at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
Yes. They are broadcasting from the Central Command Room at the Department of Defense. The general admits that the current situation is very serious and they've limited press involvement. But when Kevin sees that Kat is getting into an app on his phone, he lunges for her and asks what she's doing. Kat explains that she's getting onto the Line app, and when Kevin accuses her of lying because she said she needed to make a call, she says that she's making the call online. Who memorizes phone numbers? I'm like, I do know my partner's phone number.
As you
Yes.
should.
Yeah.
I do think that he's just got a lot of things on his phone that he doesn't,
Yeah.
he doesn't want anyone to see.
Kevin says that he memorizes phone numbers. Is it so hard? But Kat snaps at him to shut up. She reminds him what he almost let happen to her at the subway. She's using his phone. Kevin looks around the small room and sees that everyone is staring at him now, and he finally backs off.
He did close the gate.
He did
close the gate.
Mm-hmm.
On the TV, the general continues that they have already arranged to take reinforcements from areas with low infection rates before presenting their president, Guo Rongxie. With Kevin off her back, Kat finally places her call. The president, played by An Long Sai, takes the general's place behind the podium. After adjusting the microphones to suit his shorter height, he bids his audience good morning. He offers his apologies for their lack of punctuality in making the statement. He says that their administration has been working tirelessly since the first reports came in, but the nation's scientific community is still unable to explain the cause of the random acts of violence. He decides to detail what they know it's not. It's not a hostile invasion. It's not a chemical weapon or a population destabilizing agent. He says that although many people are sharing these cinematic theories, there is no evidence to support them. And he stresses that the critical factor is how they confront the threat, and they are confronting it swiftly and efficiently. I don't know how they're claiming to be doing that.
Yeah. That's not what we see.
No.
When he begins, since the beginning of time, some of the patients in the waiting room are getting annoyed. One man asks, "What the fuck is this, a history lesson?" But the president says that there is no evidence that the Alvin virus is responsible, but it can't be ruled out either.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking directly at the camera, at us, he says that we must work together. This is the biggest challenge in the history of the country. Thrusting his fists into the air, he promises that they will prevail, and he thanks his audience and departs. The general gets behind the microphone again, reiterating that the president has outlined that they are likely dealing with a contagious disease that essentially transforms normal people into homicidal, sadistic maniacs. I don't feel like the president did say that.
Yeah. No.
He said a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
He was like, mayhap it is, mayhap it ain't. Goodbye. Wait, what? Mr. President. When no one answers on the other end of Kat's call, she tries again, and the general shares that according to their data, the estimation of nationwide infection is between 15 and 20%.
Not good numbers.
No! The soldiers around him clench their jaws at the statistic, but the general does the math for us. That is 4.5 million infected people and rising. He adds that these 4.5 million infected people are on the streets right now.
I don't know why you have to say that part.
And they're right behind you.
Yeah,
Look
they
out.
might live next door to
To
you.
you. He warns that murder, rape, and torture is only the beginning of what these people are capable of. As a tear rolls down his face, he implores the audience that they all must stick together and follow the plan developed by the Ministry of Homeland Security. He repeats that the president said full transparency will serve best in accomplishing their goals. A soldier behind the camera keeps his focus on the general as he closes his eyes and raises his head, slick with sweat now. His expression of worry softens into a smile, and when he opens his eyes, they are totally black with that concerning rim of red. Suddenly, he grabs the president. Patriotic music swells as the general pushes the other soldiers away with a big smile. He drops his hand to his belt and comes back with a grenade. Still pinning the president's body down with one arm, he raises the grenade to his grinning lips, clamps the pin in his teeth, and pulls it. He brings the grenade down to the president's face, and when he turns him to face the camera, abandoned now by the cameraman, the grenade is jammed in the president's mouth. We watch as his head explodes, debris, blood, and brains swirling under the bright lights before the music finally distorts, and we cut to the red alert screen with its droning tone.
I was not a fan of this. I was just watching the Secret Service and they're like, well, let's see where he's going. It's like nothing. You're not going to fucking do anything.
They're like, fuck.
That's
dude.
crazy.
My thing is, I feel like it is not received the way that it would be received. If a fraction of this happened.
Right.
Everybody's like, well, fuck, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
I think it did work for me because when he's like pulling the pin from the grenade, he like licks the ring and puts it in his teeth and then pulls it. And it's like, oh, you're enjoying this.
No, he's having a great time.
Yeah. And it is just that the reaction of everybody, not like, was that fucking real? Or like, you know what I mean? They're just sitting there like, huh, so what do we do?
But I'm like, are we speaking to the desensitization of the world right now?
I don't know. Maybe we're putting too much into it.
I think
Yeah.
I'm giving him too much slack.
Yeah.
But because that aspect of it did not work for me. This should cause utter
I think it's just too cartoony.
panic and chaos. And it is cartoony.
And-
Yeah,
but
that's
then
fair.
I think there would be more, I don't know, because we can say that for the people with the phones on the subway.
Yeah.
But otherwise, everybody's freaking out.
Yeah.
So it's not as everyone's like, dude, whatever. It's
well,
just,
and people had their phones out on the subway because they thought that the threat
It was over.
neutralized.
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think it was just too cartoony for me.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, that is fair.
But I will say the effects where it's obviously cutting from a real actor to some kind of dummy head,
Yeah.
it looks very well done.
Oh, yeah.
How quickly you don't even notice that shift.
Yeah. And I will say, I'm not going to plug it again, but we all know what we're covering and where you can listen to it. But this this did remind me of a scene
Yes.
in The Stand that is like more fleshed out in the novel. But this did remind me of that, where it's like, oh, every shred of these touchstones of civilized life,
It's done.
Yeah.
they're gone.
Yeah.
Everyone in the waiting room is stricken silent until one man asks, what the fuck do we do now? Another guy tells him to shut up, pointing out that he's got a big mouth for such a little man. The first asserts that he didn't vote for him, and when he's called a coward in return, a fight ensues. When the men are pulled apart, the aggression spreads, and bystanders are thrown to the floor. The security guard yells at them to stop, and wounded people waiting for care shrink away from the violence. Kat presses herself against the wall as the fight moves closer to her. When a group of people rush to the locked glass door, the security guard pulls his gun and demands that they get back. Maybe he's a cop. I don't know if a security guard would have a gun.
Well, maybe.
I don't know. Either way, he pulls his gun.
Whoever he is.
It doesn't
Yeah,
fucking
he's got a
matter at
gun.
this point. Kat breathes deeply, bordering on panic, but she screams when Kevin comes up behind her and crudely yanks her ponytail back. He yells at her to give him his phone. She throws her elbow back, hitting him right in his already wounded nose. But he kicks her in the ass and she falls to the floor.
Yeah, this is taking a turn.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like people playing on my phone. But
I get it. But did you have to yank her fucking
No.
hair back?
and then kick her. Come on, Kevin.
As Kevin whines and covers his nose, Kat scrambles back and sits up against a water machine. But when she looks up at the security guard standing in front of the door, still holding his gun on the crowd, she goes still. On the other side of the glass door, behind the security guard, is the businessman. He stands, staring blankly until he locks eyes with Kat, and his lips twitch up into a smirk. He lifts his axe into view. Thinking quickly, Kat snatches up Kevin's dropped phone and rushes through the stairwell door. She slams it behind her, and Kevin rushes up to the door, banging on it, calling Kat awful names and demanding his phone back. But the businessman raises the axe and swings, shattering the glass door and burying the blade into the security guy's back. He falls first to his knees and finally face down, dead. Now, not only is the murderous businessman inside the waiting room, the open door has let in several infected people who attack indiscriminately. As the other guard is tackled, her shirt is ripped open and she's drooled on. She looks at the face of her dead coworker and screams. But the businessman takes his axe and moves on.
I'm not sure what it is, that if it's jazz or crazy sax or whatever's going on when shit happens. I fucking love that.
It works.
Like
It's really good.
Yeah, it very much sets me in the like, damn, it's just wild.
You feel like the frenzy.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
chaos. Kevin has fled down the hallway and he stops for a moment when he sees Molly sitting alone in the wheelchair. After this pause, he scrambles underneath a bed in the hall. The businessman rounds the corner and looks around until his eyes settle on Molly. She has an IV in her hand, her eye has a fresh bandage, and there's a brace around her neck. The businessman realizes that he remembers her. Kevin stares from underneath the bed as the businessman asks Molly where her pretty friend is. He takes off his suit jacket and sets it aside neatly. As he pulls down his suspenders and unbuckles his belt, he warns Molly that he's going to have a lot of fun with her. He peels off the bandage covering her eye socket, grips Molly's head, and does exactly what you think he's about to do. Molly screams and Kevin shields his ears and squeezes his eyes shut underneath the bed, blocking the atrocities out as he trembles. So this is a lot, Robin.
This
Yeah.
is a lot.
I did read that Su Chang-Wong said that he did not want to rehearse the scene at all and that Jabbaz let them just kind of go for it without rehearsing it. And Ying-Ru Chen said that Molly, that it was a very upsetting scene to film, but that after the crew like rushed over and was like telling her jokes and stuff to cheer her up. Which is like, I guess it's good that there was some support. But
Yeah.
there are moments in here where it does, as much as I defend it, it does feel like, did we need to go there?
It's just
This I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Look, at this I'll give you that, but again, for me, it still falls. It's right on the line for me.
Yeah.
To like, is this too much or is this what would happen?
To me, watching it, it's just all I think when I see it is just like the filmmakers trying to be edgy, like it, and it's just shock value for the sake of shock value. And when that stuff happens and I see it, I tune out.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're just trying too hard.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get
I
it.
totally
You know?
get that.
Yeah, I get it.
I feel like the first time I watched it, it really felt like, because again, we were still, not that COVID's gone, but it was still, a daily, like, I don't need to explain it. We were all there.
Right.
And so it feels like people who were denying the severity of it or kind of sweeping under the rug the deaths from it where it feels like we're losing all of these people very quietly, and people are just being louder over it, kind of being like, no, it's not a big deal and it's a fucking conspiracy and this and that. This feels like, okay, if the virus was doing something different, you couldn't fucking do that. Like, if this is what's happening in the street, and instead of people quietly dying and people losing their family members, you wouldn't be able to turn your eye and minimize it.
Yeah.
For me, watching it, that's what it felt like. Instead of this virus doing this, what if it fucking did this? And then you all would have to shut the fuck up and listen and realize what's going on.
And I get that 100%. I feel like that is a very charitable interpretation of the writing process. And I think, and that's the thing, again, you put art out into the world and you can make your own meaning from it.
Yeah.
And if that's what you got from the scene, that's how at least something worth something.
Right. That's how I interpreted
true.
These levels of extreme, because this is, it's a lot. Like you said, John Paul, bordering on too much. And I'm not, necessarily clutching my pearls at every extreme horror, And I think this was like, God, like, hasn't she been through enough?
Yeah.
What did she do but sit down on a fucking bus on a subway?
That was it.
I think that's kind of the distinction I want to make, because it's not like clutching the pearls. It's just you're kind of annoying now.
I get it.
Like, you're boring me because you're trying to shock me.
Okay.
But in my mind, I was like, oh, we're using the shock for good. And then I'm reading interviews and there's no mention of any of the shit I'm saying.
Well, you had a good idea.
I had a really good idea, you guys. On the street, Jim slows his bike to a stop and stumbles as he walks around a corner. But Kat is moving quietly in a stairwell, thoughtfully pulling off her shoes to move silently. Jim checks his phone and finds missed calls and texts from Kat. I lost my phone. I'm at NTU hospital. I'm not hurt. Slick with sweat, Jim tries to call her. Kevin's phone begins to ring in the stairwell, and Kat answers it in a whisper. Jim's entire body reacts to the sound of her voice. He shoots up to his feet and closes his eyes, overcome with emotion. Kat asks if he's okay. Where is he? But instead of answering, Jim just wants to know if she's okay. He promises that he's on his way. Kat tells him again that she's not hurt, but she's at the hospital and she thinks the cops are dead. There are only crazy people here now, and she doesn't know where to go or what to do. Becoming more panicked and talking faster, she asks if he can help her. Jim tells her to take a deep breath and try to calm down. She needs to try to keep it together right now. Kat listens and tries to steady her breathing, but Jim breaks the news that the main road is blocked. He has to go the long way, but he'll be there. Shuddering, Kat admits that she's so scared. Jim tells her to find a place to hide, then send him a line message to let him know where she is. Kat counters that she can't send a message. This isn't her phone. She can't call him, but he can call her. Jim understands. He'll call her when he gets there. He promises her that he will be there. He instructs her to put her phone on silent, and her voice low, Kat tells Jim that she loves him. She needs him to know how much he means to her. But Jim is turned to a small pond where a mannequin head floats in the water. He stares at this, flexing his duct-taped hand. We see Jim's rippling reflection in the pond before quickly focusing on a woman's face lying in the water as her eye suddenly pops open. Everything is quiet until the score comes in aggressively, and we see the woman's darkening, gnashing teeth bared in a sick smile. Blood drips from Jim's injured hand as she thrusts out her black tongue, flicking it frantically back and forth. Jim shakes his head, banishing this, and when he looks back at the pond, it's once again the mannequin head floating serenely on the water. Kat's panicked voice is coming through the phone, but Jim is holding it down by his side now. He brings it back to his ear, assuring her that he's fine. He just got a little lightheaded. Kat tells Jim again that she loves him, and Jim says that he loves her too. He tells her that he will be there soon and disconnects the call.
Fight it, Jim. Fight it.
Yeah.
I know.
Now I am very worried.
Yeah.
I have to say something about that and the way that it was shot was very successful for me.
Oh,
It's so good and like beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I'm not, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves here, but the first time I was watching this, I wasn't sure what I was seeing.
I thought until it returns to that mannequin again, I thought it was just like a less successful like cutaway. Like you were not supposed to realize that it was a real head.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know why I ran out of breath. But
I was trying to move past it.
I'm talking a lot, I think. But I thought that it was just like a less successful effect thing.
Right.
Okay.
But then we go back to the mannequin and you're like, oh, it's like kind of like a surreal vision.
Yes.
Which makes it way more interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
With a loud clang, the lights in the stairwell shut off. A buzzer sounds and emergency lights turn on, bathing Kat in the stairs in a red glow, technically making The Sadness 2021 a giallo film.
There's a lot of red.
There is.
Now I'm sad.
You're like, oh, this is The Sadness.
Yeah. And I get it now.
But back on the street, Jim walks over to a railing overlooking the city. He hears clamoring and screaming, the sounds of emergency vehicles, and the city enveloped in thick plumes of smoke.
That stuff is the kind of visual that really frightens me.
Uh-huh.
Where it is like your entire home,
Yeah.
your entire city. Almost, well, I don't want to spoil, but there was a film that we covered about a party and maybe John Carroll Lynch is in it. But where the last shot is really frightening.
Yeah.
Because of what it portends.
Right.
But I don't want to tell.
We don't want to
So, not for this.
In the hospital hallway, Kevin finally crawls out from under the bed. He follows the sounds of whimpering and panting and peeks around the corner. He finds infected people engaged in a bloody but consensual, finally, orgy in the hallway.
I will say, so they're nice to each other.
That's the thing, because this is something that it's like, okay.
Yeah,
If you're doing that.
that's fine. And I feel like actually the way that, because we get, some kind of expositional explanations later on.
Yeah.
And I feel like what that is entailing, this is what you would expect more of.
Yeah.
Like you would expect more infected people getting it in the street,
right.
stepping over
Yeah.
them, whatever, than what kind of we see. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you would see both, but you would definitely see more of this.
But
Yeah.
it's almost like we talk about on The Purge. It's like nobody wants to commit any other crimes. It's all
Yeah.
just killing people. Nobody wants to rob a bank or anything.
yeah.
There's never a heist during The Purge. Well, there was on the TV show. Thank you. But you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get it. It is that too, because you are right thinking about it. It's like where there's so many infected. What are the rest of y'all doing? If
Yeah.
not, shouldn't you be doing that?
Yeah.
You would think. But before Kevin can be seen, he pulls back from the corner and sprints through another set of doors out of sight. He lingers at the doors before looking down the hall and finding Molly squatting down to the floor. Beneath her are streaks of blood and entrails. Not to spoil anything going forward, but I so fucking wanted this to be the businessman underneath her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Especially
not.
the way that,
The last time we saw her,
Yeah.
I was really hoping, but no.
And Kevin, she is clearly the sadness right now.
Yes, yes.
Come on.
She's clearly the saddest.
TM, trademark.
Sad, yeah.
She's, yes.
Kevin approaches slowly, but when he accidentally steps on a bedpan and it clatters against the floor, Molly turns her head. She looks at him, her hair matted, her ruined eye even more swollen, and she giggles with her mouth full. In her hands, she holds a head with its brain exposed. Gore begins to leak from Molly's lips as she stares at him with impossibly black eyes. She tells him, "Little worm, I'm glad you're here." She laughs again and picks up an electric saw. Sneering as she rises to her feet, she admits to Kevin that she had always had trouble making friends. Kevin backs away from her, but doesn't see that the group from the orgy is standing in the hall waiting for him. They grab him and bring him to the floor. Molly chuckles that she guesses she just needed to meet the right people. She presses the button and the saw whirs to life. The naked group hold Kevin down as Molly approaches and brings the saw down on him, grinning and drooling. Everyone is splattered with Kevin's blood, and Molly cackles that this is her kiss. She's kissing him to death. Kevin screams as his blood and bits of flesh and bone fly up onto him.
I'm glad she's having a good time. Like, it makes me happy to see her happy.
She has friends.
Yeah.
We've never seen her happy one time.
No.
So I mean, I know this isn't how I would pick it for her, but like, good for her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think this is a good for her film.
No, maybe not. But in the stairwell, Kat is still sitting on the steps when the door bangs open. 2 deranged patients sprint inside, but when they round the corner to where Kat was just sitting, she's gone and only her shoes remain. They snatch them up and sniff them, but Kat is sprinting quietly on the level above. Panting, she opens a door to the next floor. Here, the walls are lined with plastic sheets and the emergency lights are dimmed beneath them. There is a gurney in the hall and Kat rips off its railing, falling back with the force of her pull. She's able to slide the railing between the door handles just as the patients make it there. They bang on the door, calling her a whore and demanding that she open it. But Kat is running away. She finds a gate to the helipad, but when she tries to open it, it's locked tight. Instead, she runs back down the hall, opposite from the door where the patients still try to get in. When another voice calls out to her, Kat turns. It's the businessman, slunk down between the 2 patients, forcing his face in the opening of the door. Crusted in blood and further lit by the red lights, he promises her, "I'm not gonna stop until I've fucked you to death." Straining, he tries to push the doors open, but Kat runs. She makes it to the end of the hall and goes through another door, but the businessman is able to crawl his way through the opening and into the hallway. The patients implore that he open it for them, but the businessman just pulls the railing tighter, making it impossible. He offers them an apology that the slut is his. The patients continue to rattle the door, but the businessman turns and slowly walks after Kat, slinging his axe casually over his shoulder. He asks if she thinks Molly got away before informing her that her eyeball fluid is still drying on his dick right now.
Jesus Christ.
He asks, how about that? How about that?
I don't want to think about that.
No.
I've had enough of this guy.
Yeah.
Can we kill him?
Yeah,
let's speed this up.
Yeah.
Speed this up.
Watch us on 2 times speed.
He grins that by the time he was finished, Molly was begging him to keep going. He enters the doors that Kat just disappeared behind. As he walks down this new hall, he promises that she's next. Just wait and see. Kat is hiding behind one of the plastic sheets. The businessman makes more crude comments and tells Kat that he was only able to do what he did to Molly because of her, so he thanks her. Suddenly, he sees a box set for 2 fire extinguishers, but it's missing one. He stops in his tracks and turns to find Kat, armed with the missing fire extinguisher. She fires, filling the hall with its cloud and turning all the red on the businessman white. Kat screams as she swings the extinguisher and hits him in the face. He goes down, falling flat on his back, and Kat brings it down on his head again and again. The businessman shudders with his head cracked open, but he raises his head to tell her, "You're just like me, violent and depraved." He starts to wheeze laughter, but Kat brings the fire extinguisher down again and again and again, crying out with every impact. She can't control herself, and by the time she's done, she and her white blouse are stained crimson, and the businessman's face is concave and featureless.
It's an odd time for some on-the-nose social commentary, isn't
Yeah.
I'm like, for last words for this character,
it? It's wild.
it kind of eats. I'm not gonna lie, but this is. He's like, yeah.
I was surprised that she killed him here.
Yeah.
I expected him to be
Like the final. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So I'm glad he's gone.
Yes.
But it did surprise me.
I enjoyed all of this, him coming through. I know he's saying crazy shit, but the way he looks carrying that axe, him being in the dark, covered in blood, and walking through there. And yeah, the crazy shit does, for me, help with how bad of this situation is.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking nuts this virus is turning people. And him walking through there, I was like, that's fucking scary.
It is.
Yes.
Him like that slow saying that shit, it's like, that's fucking frightening.
but he's dead.
Yes.
No, yeah, and glad. I'm glad
Oh, yeah.
she fucked him up.
Rest in
Rest
peace.
in piss. Yes.
The music mounts as Kat finally stops screaming and catches her breath. A door slides open next to her, revealing a man standing in a hazmat suit. The two lock eyes for a quiet moment, and when the patients finally make their way in at the end of the hall and the railing is discarded on the floor, Kat gets up and goes in the room. The door slides shut behind her. It's like, what the fuck else are you going to do?
Honestly.
Yeah.
The man goes wordlessly over to his computer. Catching her breath, Kat looks around the room. A white coat with the badge is hung up next to shelves of books. There are test tubes of liquids, a shower in the corner, x-rays on the wall. A screen comes on next to Kat, and when she starts to ask the man, "Who are you?" he tells her, "Shh." He points up at the screen, surveillance of the hallway, where the remains of the businessman are splattered. The deranged patients come into view, skulking around him. As Kat watches, one of them grabs handfuls of viscera from the businessman and wipes it on the camera to obstruct her view. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. The man in the hazmat suit calls out to her, and when she turns, he's holding a gun. He instructs her to go over to the shower on the other side of the room. He tells her there's a set of handcuffs and to cuff herself. Kat is like, "What?" But he repeats for her to cuff herself to the pipe now. Kat looks over at the shower and sees the cuff that he's talking about, but she looks back at the man and declares, "No." The man cocks his gun and admits that he doesn't want to do this, but he doesn't know her and he doesn't know if she's infected. He implores her to do what he says because he absolutely is prepared to kill her. Which I'm like, I kind of get it.
Yeah. That's my same thing. I was like, I understand we do have to be safe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe say it in a nicer way, but I mean,
Yeah.
with the circumstances,
And he did save her.
yeah.
Yeah. Moving slowly, Kat walks over to the shower, and upon the man telling her to do so again, she clicks the shiny metal cuff around her bloody wrist. It's only then that the man lowers the gun. He goes over to the pipe and turns on the water. It rains down on Kat, and the man pulls his mask down, apologizing. He knows that it's cold, but it's a chemical disinfecting solution. He doesn't know if it'll work, but it's better than nothing. As the blood rinses away from her skin, Kat whimpers that it is cold. The man tells her that she'll just have to deal with it. He goes back to his computer, realizing that she doesn't seem infected. She might be immune. He goes back to the pipe and turns the water off with a squeak, wondering her blood type. But Kat doesn't answer. She stands there, catching her breath, dripping with the solution and water. He tells her clinically to take her clothes off. They're covered in contaminated tissue. He'll give her dry scrubs. He pulls off his goggles and hood, revealing himself to be Dr. Alan Wong.
That surprised me so much.
Yeah.
But it was such a cool introduction to him
Yeah.
earlier.
Mhm.
Yes. Indicating her cuffed wrist, Kat fires back. How is she supposed to get undressed like this? Picking up his gun again, Wong tells her to figure it out. Kat turns away from him and starts to unbutton her blouse, but she glances back over to him and asks if he's a doctor. Wong nods, a virologist. She asks why he's here in the maternity ward, and Wong explains that they were renovating this floor so it's empty, and it's actually the strongest door in the whole hospital. Kat takes off her shirt and lowers her hand to her skirt, where she finds Kevin's phone still tucked in. But Wong isn't paying any attention to her. He's gazing at the door, pointing out its thick metal and theorizing that it's to make parents feel like their babies are safe. He wonders, though, who would ever want to steal a baby? Kat takes off her bloody clothes and tucks them into the corner. Wong wonders if Kat has children, and she says that she doesn't. Standing in her bra and underwear now, she asks if he can turn around. Wong obliges, but he can still see the hazy reflection of her bare back in the mirror on the other wall.
I feel like there is a curtain right there, and he could have made her feel more comfortable by closing it or allowing her to close it.
Yes, he could have.
Yeah.
He watches her as he muses that she's lucky to not have any kids. He feels sorry for people who have kids. He says that the Alvin virus has ruined their lives and destroyed their future. In the resulting silence, he asks if she's done. Wong turns on the water again, and Kat grimaces as the cold chemical solution rains down on her naked body.
I'm sure it's cold and it sucks, but we're clean.
Yeah, after
Let's get clean.
yeah.
Close your eyes. Let me shower.
Yeah, I would prefer that to being caked in blood.
Yeah.
But Jim has arrived at the hospital. We follow his feet as he enters, his sandals sliding through the thick, congealing blood on the floor. He rounds the corner to the stairwell. When we did not see his face, I started to get a little concerned. In the room, Wong wheels a biohazard trash over to Kat with the towel and the scrub set on top of it. He tosses her a towel and assures her that if she were infected, she'd already be showing symptoms. He'll take some blood samples from her after she's dressed. Kat cowers in the corner, draping her body in the towel and hiding her face as Wong releases her cuff. He goes over to his computer, but he picks up his gun and looks over at her. He apologizes if it scared her, but it's only for protection. He admits that a few months ago, he realized that he needs a gun, so he 3D printed one, but it's no toy. Luckily, he kept a few rounds as souvenirs from his military service. He smiles a little as he sets the gun back down, but Kat doesn't respond. She just snatches the scrubs from the lid of the waste bag. Wong tells her that for a full year, he tried to tell people that the virus would mutate, but no one trusts doctors anymore. He laments that everything is politicized and there's no longer any truth. As Kat pulls the scrubs on, Wong continues that the politicians are the worst. A nationwide lockdown probably felt like career suicide to them. It's an election year, so they wouldn't want to risk driving the country into a recession. Kat walks over to the mirror and takes a long look at her reflection. Wong asserts that the virus is like being possessed by an evil spirit. It affects the limbic system in the brain and connects the part that regulates aggression to the area that governs sexual drive. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
He allows that those parts of the brain aren't exactly dissimilar. And he hopes that she's following because this is quite academic. He believes that the viral mutation happened by natural processes. It's like, okay,
excuse me. Now I see why that YouTuber was getting in here.
He's like, I am a genius.
Yeah,
so
try to keep up.
Kat fixes her ponytail in the mirror, and Wong tells her that the limbic system is no joke. We think that humans are intelligent organisms capable of reason and logical decisions, but the reality is we're all slaves to our limbic systems. Pressing the gun against his head to illustrate, he says that the higher brain only exists to serve the limbic system. There are even documented cases of patients with damaged limbic systems who are unable to escape a feeling of intense thirst. He lets his voice become gravelly and rubs his throat, continuing that these patients would keep drinking and drinking. He says that's the really unnerving part. The infected men in the hallway that were chasing Kat, they likely understand that the things they're doing are vile and repugnant, but the desire is too strong for them to resist it. Asking them not to indulge in those urges is like asking us not to blink.
So is that the tear?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Kat is still staring at her reflection and wiping a tissue repeatedly across her cheek, offering nothing to Wong's monologue. He says that it's hard not to blink, and he wonders if maybe they're crying because they feel guilty. He grimaces at this. He taps the barrel of his 3D printed gun against his temple, informing Kat that the virus leaves virtually every brain function intact, and it doesn't even impede imagination. It makes you do the most horrific things you can imagine. He sticks his tongue around and groans, pantomiming one of the infected. He supposes that this is why they don't attack each other. For them to be satisfied, their victims must suffer. He reasons, you can't rape the willing, right? But he pauses, proposing, how do you know if you never tried? He's saying some concerning shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Peppered into his fucking exceedingly academic monologue or whatever. But I guess that explains our question from earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping an eye on you. He snaps back to the moment and turns to Kat, still standing in the mirror. He asks if she's done and suggests that they run the blood test. Kat is still staring blankly and dazed. After a moment, she tells him to wait just a moment. She goes over to the shower and takes her clothes, where she's hidden Kevin's phone. She checks it, then deposits the clothes into the biohazard bag. But when the lid slaps shut, she hears something groaning inside. Confused, she flips the lid and takes a closer look at the black garbage bag beneath the clothes, where something writhes and squeals. Kat pulls open the bag and reveals a baby, crying out with its toothless mouth, its eyes wide, the expanded black iris rimmed in red, the telltale sign of the Alvin virus.
Once again, with Jabbaz's interest in modern horror, this felt like Dawn of the Dead 2004.
Absolutely. I'm thinking the same thing. Kat's features go slack with her shock as a musical sting cries out, but Wong's hand enters the frame with a syringe gun. Without warning, he jabs Kat in the neck and empties the red liquid. The infected baby continues to cry hoarsely as Kat staggers into the shower area. Wong immediately cuffs her to the wall. He's pissed, lamenting that it didn't have to be this complicated. Sneering, he pulls the biohazard bin over to himself, securing his black glove and glancing over at Kat as he forcefully pulls the shower curtain closed. The baby's cries continue rhythmically until Dr. Wong reaches into the bag and we hear a squeal and a crunch. The cries go silent.
See, and again, to me, it's just like kind of like needlessly nihilistic. It's like, what's the worst thing we could do?
Yeah,
right
no,
now?
it's awful.
Yeah, it's fucked up. He watched her. You had to have seen her walk over to that bin. Like you waited.
He has nowhere else to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he let it happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oddly, on the whiteboard behind him, written are the words "We're fucked," which is wild. As a scientist,
Trial and error. That's what he came up with.
yeah, like this is it.
Yeah,
This is all.
that's it.
It's like, damn, that's the answer, I guess.
After many tests,
Kat is shivering and clutching her neck on the floor of the shower, once again cuffed to the pipe on the wall. From his side of the curtain, Wong tells her to forget the blood tests. He just injected her with the culture of the Alvin virus, so if she's not immune, she'll be exhibiting symptoms very soon. He pulls off his gloves and says calmly that he's going to check on her in 5 minutes. If she's not showing any symptoms, they'll go up to the roof. A helicopter is coming for them, and they might be able to use Kat to develop a vaccine. He warns, though, that if he opens that curtain and finds her infected, he will kill her. He concedes that he knew she didn't trust him, and she probably wouldn't want to leave with him, but he implores her to think about it. Her blood might be able to save lives. Who knows? Maybe Kat could save the world. Weak and shuddering, Kat pulls Kevin's phone out from her top. When she checks for notifications, she only finds a wallpaper of a big-breasted anime character and a request for a password that she doesn't have. She grimaces in disappointment. After a moment, Wong decides to share more with Kat. When he got here, the staff was gone, but there were 8 infants left behind. He indicates the empty plastic bassinets and rationalizes that he could barely convince the government to pick him up. He details the horrific things that the infected would have done if they'd found these babies. If he hadn't killed them, they'd be in worse hands. Kat angles the phone under the light and spots the streaks where Kevin had dragged his finger across the phone to put in the code. Wong says that he realized maybe one of those babies might be able to generate valuable antibodies, so he injected each of them with the virus. He turns to the curtain separating him and Kat and wonders, have I done something wrong? Raising his voice, he demands again, have I done something wrong? He asserts that they would have been dead anyway, so he made the most logical choice available to him. He shouts at Kat, asking, does she get that? But Kat is breathing hot air onto the phone screen, further emphasizing the shape of a Z. Wong reveals that all of the babies got infected. Not a single one was immune. Kat drags her finger in the Z shape on the password prompt, and Kevin's phone opens. But Wong is looking at the biohazard bin and musing that he guesses this one was a little more tenacious than the rest. He managed to survive longer. That's all. He goes back over to his desk with the computer and lowers his head, but Kat is feverishly texting in her chat with Jim. Elsewhere, in the blood-spattered hospital, Jim walks with the phone clutched in his injured hand. We are focused only on the phone when he raises it to look at the buzzing alert, but he promptly drops his phone on the floor, abandoning it in the congealing blood as he trudges forward. We see Kat's text, 8th floor maternity ward. This man has a gun. In the room, Wong is gathering his things when he receives a text of his own. Pick up at NTU Hospital, rooftop helipad. ETA 5 minutes, Dr. A. Wong, Chief of Virology. Wong puts his phone away and secures his mask back over his nose and mouth. He slides on his goggles and pulls his hood of his hazmat suit over his head before going to the shower curtain. He pushes it to the side and aims his gun at Kat, still slunk in the corner with her wrist cuffed. He asks how she's feeling, but Kat only tells him in a weak voice to put that gun away. The door to the room hisses as Dr. Wong slides it open. They pass the bloody and decimated remains of the businessman. Wong moves ahead with his gun at the ready, and Kat shuffles behind him weakly, pulling herself along.
It looks like they fucking ate him.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say there's less of him.
Yeah.
than when we saw him last. At first, she tries not to look down at the businessman's remains, but when she does glance at it, she sees that there is a gap in the blood where the businessman's axe was. It's no longer there. Worried, Kat asks what happened to it. Dr. Wong turns and looks, but someone comes around the corner with the axe and buries it in Dr. Wong's foot, cutting it in half. Wong screams and falls backwards into the businessman's bloody remains, and the assailant steps out, revealing himself to be one of the deranged patients that chased Kat. Readying his weapon to ask Dr. Wong another question, he looks over to Kat and crudely asks if she's getting excited. We'll say that.
Thank you for the decorum.
I gotta pick where I can on this one, because Jesus Christ. I feel like maybe I've said enough. But before he can swing, Wong raises his gun and fires. The bullet flies out of the back of the patient's head, but the other one is shuffling toward Wong now. Wong fires again, hitting the second patient in the gut. He falls backward and giggles. Wong tries to fire again, but his 3D printed gun is stuck. Frantically, he tries to get it to work, but this patient has already crawled over to him. Now, this is where I'm in the boat with you of like, oh, really? Now that's too much. I'm full Sideshow Bob, because the patient raises Dr. Wong's severed foot, the stump of it, and vomits on it.
Was he Brundlefly?
Yeah. Well, he thought it was gross too.
He's like, that's
He was
nasty,
like,
dude.
oh, did I do that?
So I think this was the other guy. I didn't know this was going on.
I'm like, I know we're approaching the finish line here, but
Come
God
on.
damn, dude.
And what? I just don't. Maybe because he was shot in the stomach. I don't know. The bullet unsettled his stomach.
It upset his tummy.
Yeah, his tummy's upset. So. This is the result. It's the doctor's fault, I guess.
Kat cowers around the corner, covering her ears with her fists. Dr. Wong screams at the patient, calling him a fucking piece of shit. Finally, he's able to fire. The white of the blast explodes and the patient falls back. Wong takes a moment to pant and catch his breath, but it sinks in, the pain that he's in and the contamination he's endured. Kat still stands watching him. Wong rips off his hood, mask, and glasses. He screams at Kat to help him up because she won't have roof access without him. He groans in pain, imploring Kat to help him. Why is she still just standing there? Kat finally goes to him. We cut to her helping him down the hall, but Wong is grunting painfully with every step, leaving behind a thick trail of blood. When he stumbles, he demands that Kat help him up. She does, but she reasons that they're not going to take him like this. Wong just tells her to shut up and hurry, but the door that they're rushing to bangs open, and Jim stands there. He steps forward, the skin under his eyes glistening, the teeth in his mouth dingy, the blackness of his eyes staring. Infected, Jim remarks with a grin, "Kat, I made it." He promised that he would make it here. Smiling, he looks at Wong and asks if that's her new boyfriend. Looking at Jim unbelievingly, she says quietly that it's not. Jim asks through a wide grin if she's running away from him. He thanks Dr. Wong for taking care of Kat, but now he's going to chop his dick off and feed it to him.
Everybody's got a real specific.
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's official.
Yeah.
He's now
Infected.
fully
Yes,
infected.
He's turned.
I was so bummed.
Yeah.
You kind of think it like as he's trudging through or whatever. But the first time I watched it, I was like, maybe not. And then you see him and it's like, fuck.
Well, he made it as long as he could.
Yeah. And then you realize what he was kind of shaking off with that mannequin.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking is like, well, she is the cure to this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it can be okay.
Yeah.
She just needs to take him to her dad's barn and do a blood transfusion.
Uh-huh.
And then everything's going to be fine.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Jim starts toward Wong, but the doctor immediately raises his gun. Kat screams as he fires, but Jim is hit in the neck. He recoils and presses his injured hand to the bleeding wound, and Wong pushes Kat to the ground. He aims his gun at Jim and fires again, but the gun backfires, exploding in his hand. He cries out in pain, and Kat takes the opportunity to snatch the keys from his waist. Jim cries out as he advances on Wong, screaming and burying the blade of his scythe into Dr. Wong's neck. With his blood sprayed across his face like freckles, Wong opens his eyes wide and groans. His voice choked. He admits that he killed those babies, and it felt good. So good. Infected, he begins to chuckle.
I hope that's entirely the sadness talking.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so too.
It works fast.
Apparently.
Well, he just got an infected person vomited into the stump in his foot.
What a wild sentence you've just said.
It happened.
Like, as you do.
As it does. Kat fumbles with the keys quickly, trying to unlock the gate to the helipad. Jim pulls the scythe out of Wong's neck and smiles as he's bathed in the doctor's spraying blood. Just as Jim turns toward Kat, growling, she thrusts the correct key into the lock, hurries through, and slams the gate behind her. Jim grips the door, rattling it, but when it doesn't budge, he stops, panting. This did kind of remind me of him slamming that gate in the alley earlier and the infected guy reaching through the bars trying to get him.
Okay.
Kat backs away from the bars, separating them, and Jim lowers his head. It's not until she tells him, "You found me," that he looks up at her. He calls her name and asks her calmly to open the gate. Kat sinks down so that she's eye level with him. She asks him how it feels. Still clutching his bleeding neck, Jim admits that it feels wonderful. It feels like he finally has a purpose in life. Kat asks him what purpose, and Jim tells her, You are my purpose. He implores her to listen to him. When he heard her voice today on the phone, she sounded so scared. She told him that she needed him, and he knew he had to find her. He needed to be with her. They gaze at each other through the bars, and in the same low, calm voice, Jim finishes the sentiment. And then, cut your tits off. As tears pour from Kat's eyes, Jim continues, and smash your face. She scoots away from him, but he asks her again to look at him. He'll peel her skin off so slowly. Slipping his yearning hand through the bars, he pleads with her to look at him. Crying himself, he asks, doesn't she realize how much he needs her? Doesn't she realize how much he loves her? This to me was devastating.
It's unfair.
It's so fucking sad.
It
because
is.
for a moment you're like, oh, maybe he is fighting it.
Yeah.
Like he still came
Yeah.
all this way to save her. And then it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
He's not.
gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. Kat's body racks with uncontrolled sobs as she looks at her infected boyfriend through the bars. He tells her, hey, I really love you. Suddenly, Kat's sobs turn to hysterical laughter. Drool leaks from her lips and Jim starts to laugh too. But Kat turns away and runs up the stairs. She flings the door open and suddenly she is silhouetted against the bright sun, letting in the steady sound of a helicopter's chopping blades. With her gone, Jim sits with his back to the bars. He is painted red in his own and Dr. Wong's blood. He still clutches the gunshot wound on his neck, the hand beneath the crude duct tape wrapping missing 2 fingers. He smiles with his dingy teeth and stares with his impossibly black eyes. And he lowers his hand as the muffled sounds of gunshots ring out on the roof.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Nothing. We can't have anything.
No.
Nope.
A crumb of...
So upset. I did read a lot of people online didn't hear the gunshots at all.
Really?
They didn't catch that at all, which I thought was interesting. I wish I didn't hear the gunshots.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
I wish I didn't hear that, but I just heard that. Devastating.
As if it wasn't bad enough.
Yeah.
Right. So do y'all think that she was infected?
No.
I
No,
don't
yeah,
either.
not at all.
So
No.
many people do. I think that she broke. Like the laughing, people were like, she was laughing and drooling. I'm like, dude, she's fucking snapped.
Yeah.
Everything that's happened to her today?
Yeah.
And then they say that since she was shot on the roof, presumably, that was evidence that she was infected.
I think
but
they
I
just
think
did it.
They're
Yeah.
expecting Dr. Wong, and that's not Dr. Wong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, it makes it even more tragic that she's not infected.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair.
No.
Jim continues to stare at us until it cuts to black. Crying City by Ashen Blares, and the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of The Sadness?
I love that ending. The music going off, I was like, yeah, it's fucking banging my head. And for me, like, yeah, I know the ending of the movie is like, damn, everybody's gone, everything's lost. I feel like the music though brings it back, and then I'm like, all right, this is great.
I was gonna say, because you are not bleak.
The music saves it from being bleak. So I was like,
I told him that last night. I said, it is so odd that you love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I'm a bleak bitch. Everybody knows that. You, historically, that is not your bag.
Right.
But he said that how over the top it is, it's almost cartoonish. It's not like realistically rooted in bleakness. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get that.
Yeah, for me,
It's like a comic book.
Yeah, exactly. I love this movie for what it does. I appreciate the story we get with Jim and Kat. Everything happening around them feeling like a couple, and even when he snapped out of it, he's like, I love you, and I am going to find you. And even him turning, he's like, I said I was going to find you. And him saying crazy shit, he is still, I love you, whatever. And I know he was turning and whatnot, but it does feel so over the top. It's like, this is great. You know what I mean? It's not to where I can be like, fuck, I'm going to go to work and then somebody's going to get rabies and then fucking eat me.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I can deal with this. It doesn't make me feel sad. It's not like, it doesn't give me the sadness.
Uh-huh.
You know? So I did enjoy that.
I think, there's a lot to appreciate in this film. I think more for me is like the technical things.
Okay.
But I think that there are definitely certain things to take from it and enjoy about it.
Right.
And I think that there is a lot of great work here. I don't know. There's something about it that feels very edgy for the sake of it. And I just really want it to, especially for all the things that they're doing and showing and having in it, I want it to say more.
Okay.
To give a reason for why we're doing all of this. Because I feel like the meaning put into it is more us putting our own meanings into it.
Right.
Not necessarily what is intended, which is kind of a shame because you're dealing with a lot of shit.
No, and I totally understand that that's valid. You know what I mean? But again, like I've said too, for me, it's that. I don't have to look any further. I don't need to read into this. There's a fucking outbreak of rabies for humans. Shit is going bad. We're all fucked. That's end of story. And then it was just like, we get some good metal, and I'm like, yeah.
I think something else that would work for me, I want more of Jim and Kat.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because
definitely.
I think for me, that would help to balance everything out.
Okay.
To where it isn't just like thing after thing after thing after thing. If we have some like emotional weight before the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think that would work a little better for me too. It's not a film that I would say don't watch this.
Yeah.
Right.
I would never say that. Form your own opinion. Watch the fucking movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't mean to say that.
No.
I don't mean.
Tease me.
I am not.
He's got the sadness.
He's got the madness. I think that every film, watch it, form your own opinion, and have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You love this film. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but we can still chat about it.
Yeah, we sure
Absolutely.
can.
And have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I feel like it is the same way when we talked about House of the Devil.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get it, but what I wanted in there and I didn't get, I feel like here I get it in an abundance.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay, this is what I wanted. It doesn't leave me. We watch them walk around, but they're trying to get away from something. You know what I mean? They're trying to get somewhere. As to where like House of the Devil, I'm like, yeah, come on. Oh, you're going to another room. You know what I mean? So you're completely right. Watch it, form your own opinion, and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that this is definitely more successful for me than not. I still really, really enjoy this film. I am choosing to read it through my own lens and not try to infer, what Jabbaz was thinking or what he wasn't thinking or, whatever. The way I interpret this film, it's very rich with commentary, very meaningful. Its message is very important, and it's delivering it in a way where you cannot sweep it under the rug. You cannot make it something else. This thing is happening in the street.
Yeah.
The president's head just exploded on live TV. These things are happening, and we can't distract and do the, what do they say, like dog and pony show? What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's a show featuring a dog.
They think that's going to distract me from what's going on in the world.
Sorry, this fucking circus act is not
It's
going
not going to happen. Plus, I got a bad feeling about these dogs. That
They're on their own bullshit
they've had
apparently,
enough.
and they're in on it.
It's a fucking conspiracy. My point is, it is so over the top, and it's done in such a way that I think is contrasting to what. Are you still laughing?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Contrasting to what was going on at this time. And I feel like as somebody, and I know all three of us were, as somebody that was very saddened, very angry, very frustrated with the way that things were being handled, this was almost cathartic and like, okay, now fucking make this about something else. You know? Now politicize this. Now whatever. There is no politics behind it. The president does not care where the Alvin virus mutated from or whatever the fuck Wong said at the beginning. And Wong, you became a problem later on.
Yeah, he did.
And I was like, I wonder when Jim got infected. But it's like, when did Jim not get infected?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
There was too many opportunities.
And I applaud. I know that the trajectory of the story, I don't think there was any way that it would have ended up this way, but I do applaud them not both being immune. I wonder, how many people are immune. It's like these things of this universe that we don't get to explore because the ending and the hope, all of it is just snatched away at the end. And I mean, if you can stomach it, I think this is definitely one to watch. It is very rough, very brutal, like T said, very nihilistic at times, but well, for most of the time. All of the time. But there is something that I don't know. I just really, really like it. I really appreciate my reading of this film. And maybe it is like I'm just talking and I think I've found my way there. Maybe it was a little cathartic to watch it when I did and be like, yeah. This is not a fucking joke. It's not a game. Like, I think that maybe that is a component of it that is not necessarily a pro of the film, but it meant that to me, if that makes sense. But we can kind of slide into ratings. I think we've kind of, hashed everything out. There are a lot of strengths of this film for me. The practical effects are incredible. They're disgusting. They're so effective. The music, I think, is really good. All the performances are great. That businessman is fucking terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
He is so fucking scary. I will say that I think a lot of the sexual violence is very gratuitous. I understand driving that point home, but there are a few things where it's like, all right, dude, like, we get it. You know what I mean?
And you think of Safe Haven when they dealt with sex as like a compulsion kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It was, I recall, consensual.
It was a different, yeah.
You know, and when you think about this film, they do that too. And it's like, well, why isn't there more of that comparatively?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Wong told us. And that's the thing at the end too. Wong was laying it on a little thick.
Yeah.
Like, well, so the Alvin virus was born. He was giving a fucking book report on it, which like is cool. You know, I like to know where it came from, but it did feel a bit expository,
Right.
especially what he just saw Kat go through. Like, she does not give a fuck right
No.
now,
Yeah.
dude.
He's like, I know I'm too smart for you, but you know.
Well, he's been working on it for what he said, years. He's been trying to warn people.
He's been warning people. Yeah. So I mean, let him take his victory lap, I guess. But no, I for me, this is more successful than it is unsuccessful, and I feel like it really. I know that the whole point of this was it's the pandemic, Hollywood's closed, let's strike while the iron's hot. I know that it came out at the time it did because it wouldn't have come out at all if it wasn't that time.
Yeah.
But it just was the perfect timing for me. I loved experiencing it for the first time. I loved telling you, I'm like, you're either going to love this or hate this. And you loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's your birthday movie.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
But on a scale, I'll say from 1 to 10, violent and vulgar viruses, I am giving The Sadness 8.5 out of 10 violent and vulgar viruses. The pacing, too, I really liked.
Yes.
There are just a couple moments where it's like, all right, relax. But I will now open up the floor to you.
What a mild thing to say in the face of this film.
No, I think I would just repeat. I'm gonna repeat myself, but I feel the same way. This worked a lot for me more than it didn't, and I think it is just that. Like I said, I always complain about I want to see heads cut off. I want to whatever. And then here there was an excuse for it. There was a reason. Yeah, some of the stuff, I will be honest, the points you make are valid, you know what I mean? And they are fair. Some of the stuff does go overboard and some of it is just kind of like, check this out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think for me it works because it follows the narrative of what's going on in the movie. And I really, really enjoyed Kat and Jim at the beginning, being with them and seeing whatever the way they are. He's a little careless. He's she's not. And it is having their separate stories and them being apart and us following them till they do get back together. And I agree with you, babe. Him not being immune and him getting taken, him sitting there and us seeing that smile on his face and then hearing the gunshots. It worked so much for me because it's like, oh, it didn't matter that you were immune. You still died. He came and found you and he still died. Like, it's like that. Everybody's fucked. Nobody's saved. Nobody's anything. And then again, the metal kicks in.
Right. Their performances, too, in that final scene are incredible.
It's that too. The businessman, the fucking Kevin, Molly. Dude, Molly was scary when she turned.
Yeah.
She had that saw and I was like, "Oh, you look creepy as fuck." And it's things like that. Again, the businessman walking with the axe. Yeah, he's saying crazy shit, but the visual of it and hearing that, it's like, this is fucking frightening. This is it is over the top, but it is frightening. But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed this movie, and like we've been saying, if it is too much, I understand, and but like you said earlier, T, you watch it, form your own opinion, and then kind of get back to us and let us know what you thought. But for me, and yes, this is my birthday movie. I did think it was time, so we should, cover it. But for me, on a scale from 1 to 10. Violent and vulgar viruses, I'm going to give The Sadness 10 out of 10.
What?
I really enjoyed it again. I wanted to be there. Or you know what I mean? Like I feel like those moments of tension and those scary parts, I am watching like, holy fuck, Jim, run! You know what I mean? It's like, no, turn off the ringer. You know what I mean? I was with them the whole time, and I know it was crazy, but I did worry and I did like these people.
And I completely respect and understand both of your opinions on this. And I'm glad that you really do love this film.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing I will say is that any piece of creative anything in any medium, if it inspires conversation, if it makes you want to think deeper about it, form a kind of understanding of certain elements of it, then it's interesting and it's intriguing and it did something.
Yeah.
This isn't a film that is where you watch it and you're like, I have no reaction to this at all.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, I guess that is something to consider as far as the merits of the film. It does get you talking.
Right.
And it gives you something to talk about. I do like some aspects of it. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that, like we talked about throughout, cinematography, the lighting, some of these sets, the places that they went, I think that the performances are fantastic. The music is really good. I just think, I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of how they decide to portray a lot of what this virus is about.
That's fair.
And just the way that it becomes, to me, almost monotonous. Because it's like, of course, you're going to go for the lowest hanging fruit and do the most disgusting thing you can think of.
Right.
Because that's all you've been doing.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, if maybe if it were more balanced with that story between Jim and Kat, and it's like not just one thing after another constantly, and we have these little breakaways to where it's like, oh, shit, we do have more depth and weight to something else, and then we see something graphic and disturbing.
Yeah.
I think it might have just worked better for me. And I do appreciate your reading of it a lot, Reneé.
Thank you.
I think that gives it, it makes it more palatable to digest all of the other stuff that's going on.
Okay.
To say that there is this big message behind it and a purpose to everything that we're seeing.
Right.
I just don't, I think you've done this.
Well, thank you.
But I don't know. I am glad. That's the thing. And I think it's a very important thing to say. A film that you don't like, it's great that other people like it.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be a thing of any, real horror fan versus non-real horror fan. Yeah. Or you don't have any taste in horror because you don't like the horror that I like, or I like
very
this,
annoying.
and it's fucking irritating.
Yeah.
I love these conversations where you both tell me something that you feel or that you saw in this movie that I simply did not.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. And I like having those conversations.
Well, yeah. We should.
Yes. Because, again, you're not all going to like the same shit all the time.
Right.
And if you did, that'd be boring.
It would be, dude.
Yeah, it would.
But all that to say, for me, out of 10 violent and vulgar viruses, I am going to give The Sadness 5 violent and vulgar viruses out of 10.
I'm fixing to get violent and vulgar.
Oh, shit.
No, but I get it. It's fair.
After all that I just said.
You know what? Happy birthday, John.
Yeah, happy birthday. Let's get out of here.
T, you gotta go.
He's pissed.
Well, that's all from us at Podmortem. What would you rate The Sadness, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Podmortem. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Blood and Smoke, at Juggalo Daddy 84, and at Travis MWH. Thanks to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll get over 250 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, access to our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Podmortem or Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special shout out to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Please use your brain and know when it's truly best to just listen to the professionals. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo! Yeah!
Very good. A special thank you to
Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Thomas, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Sydney Smith, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rezak, Molly Gerhard, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Liz Heath, Spencer Montavo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Dan Laveau, Itzy M., Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Towton Watson, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G., Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J., Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Brandon, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O., Marissa E., Henry F., Megan M., Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Jason Hanovan, Erica Morin, Tris Wynn, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A., Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E., Maggie H.,
Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy, Ori81 Barikwa, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J, Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K, Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanities Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H., August, Vengeance Spirit, Jenny May, Glittery Fab, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D, Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J, Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, D, Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Spencer, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Erica, Jason X Rules, Karen Burrows, Aaron Norman, Stephen Rogers, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Tabitha Thomas, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, Christy Michelle Wilson, Rosalind Harnius, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H., Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L., Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M., Ghastly Grandad, Megan and Alexandra Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Sonny Jonas, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook,
The Face Flowers, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M., Brandon C., Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renland, Ashley Poe, Najee P., Seth Schaff, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz, Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Randy Tucker, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Jasmine, Stu Corbett, Daniel Smith, Brick O, Pull Out Lebowski, Jaden Nicole, Jody Grody, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X Bleeple, George Miller Apologist, Jaylene Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Claire Cantwell, Renee Hart, Meg Like Sleep, Final Boy, Milani, Nosferatu, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, Aria Carter, Melissa B., Olivia Youngblood, Elena C., Jillian Mumford, Evil Chris, Robin L. Tercer, Rex Term Raoul, Witchy Poop 19, Brian Avers, Danielle Milton, Instant Horror, Just Give Me One Wish Like Ray J, Skin Deep, Christian Salvatierra, and Ashay Guevara. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank each and every one of you.
I gotta say, all this love, it's contagious.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like that virus.
No.
We're not sad.
Alvin and the Chipmunks or whatever. No, we're good.
Happy birthday, John Paul.
Yay. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time.